/@BustedOpenPodcast. Subscribe right now.
Have you heard the news?
He's here.
He's finally here.
Hey, this is Dale Earnhardt Jr., and for the first time, you'll be able to hear my podcast, the Dale Jr. Download, right here on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio.
Please welcome Dale Earnhardt Jr. to the SiriusXM NASCAR Radio team. Hear both unique episodes of the Dale Jr. Download.
Wednesday at 6 p.m. and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Channel 90. Or download this week's episode right now on the SiriusXM app or wherever you get your podcasts.
If you love golf, then you should never turn off SiriusXM PGA Tour Radio. Our hosts have the best takes.
Tiger's impact on the game of golf, aside from how good he was at it, was something that I don't think we'll ever see again.
Talk to the biggest guests.
Scotty, you've had a year to celebrate.
This year, I've just seen a lot of good results.
And can even help you with your own game.
Take the club and at address, open it up.
It's all golf, all the time. On SiriusXM PGA Tour Radio, Channel 92 in the car, and on the SiriusXM app.
Fantasy football players, learn winning strategies right now on Fantasy Sports Radio to help you draft a winning team on Channel 87 and on the SiriusXM app.
This
slams the ball to right field, way back, way gone!
Is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Low rounding and heading for second to throw. In time!
On the Sportsnet Radio Network.
It was a double dip in Baltimore yesterday with the Orioles snapping Toronto's 3-game win streak in Game 1 and then the Blue Jays knocking off the O's in Game 2 after a 90-minute rain delay. So the Jays have now won 4 of their last 5 as they get set for tonight's tilt. Welcome, everybody, to the Sportsnet Radio Network. Eric Smith and former Major Leaguer Chris LaRue with you, alongside host and producer Sho Ali, technical director Tom Young. Toronto Blue Jays baseball is brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Glovertown and Clarenville, Newfoundland. Protect your vehicle from rust today. Find your local family-owned Crown at crown.com, Canada's #1 rust protection. It's the Orioles and Blue Jays, and the first pitch is right around the corner. You're listening to Blue Jays baseball, streaming on the Sportsnet app, sportsnet.ca, and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Timber Mart is Canada's building center, a solid neighbor to call upon when you've got a job to do. Your dependable home improvement store that offers the added value of Air Miles reward miles with every purchase of $15 or more. Visit timbermart.ca.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between pizza and inflation. First to the plate, with over 2 million sold, it's Fixed Rate Pizza, a hot and fresh extra-large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for Fixed Rate Pizza. Lock in yours today.
Order pizza.ca.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle.
Did you know your vehicle rusts faster in warm weather? Protect your vehicle today. For a special summer offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Timber Mart always has plans to help you with your plans. Your home, your cottage, your garage, whatever needs your attention first, check the most visited spot on our website for ready-to-order plans to get the job done with Canada's Building Center. Visit timbermart.ca.
Busted Open hits the road for the biggest party of the summer. The coverage is heating up as we gear up for WWE SummerSlam in Cleveland, Ohio. Don't miss Dave LaGreca and his Hall of Fame cast and crew as they dive into the biggest storylines and speak to the biggest guests in and out of the ring. What titles will change hands? Who will make a return? Will there be any surprises? No one will get you ready for SummerSlam like Busted Open. Tune in every day from 9 a.m. to noon Eastern on SiriusXM Fight Nation, Channel 156, and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
After the game, join us on MLB Network Radio. We're talking baseball with you all season long on SiriusXM Channel 89 and the SiriusXM app.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome, everybody, to Toronto Blue Jays baseball right here on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Eric Smith and Chris LaRue with you as we get set for Game 3 between the Baltimore Orioles and the Toronto Blue Jays. Game 4 will go tomorrow, and we're hoping to get this one in as there is weather in the area. Fingers crossed in Baltimore that it doesn't impact play as we get set for Chris Bassitt and Corbin Burns going toe-to-toe. And the first pitch will be coming in mere moments. But first, let's take a look at the Bet365 standings. At Bet365, you can bet live in-game on game props, totals, and the money line. Download the app and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus. Play responsibly. Ontario only. After splitting the two with the Jays yesterday, Baltimore now 4-6 over their last 10. They come in still atop the American League East, a half game ahead of the New York Yankees. Boston in third. The Rays down in fourth, 2 games above 500. And the Blue Jays, as I mentioned in the intro, having won 4 of 5, now sit at 50 and 57 as they try to get the victory again tonight, Chris.
Yeah, I don't actually mind this roster that the Blue Jays are putting together tonight. I like the fact that Addison Barger will get some playing time. Leo Jimenez obviously will get a ton more playing time now with IKF being shipped off to Pittsburgh. You have Stuart Burroa. You love Stuart Burroa. And then you have Spencer Horwitz, who needs to get some steady playing time. And obviously, even before the trades, he would have been in that ball game or in many ball games in a row. I like the fact that we get to see a lot of these young guys for the foreseeable future, probably for the rest of this season. And then we'll kind of see what happens next season with the free agent signings, how much Rodgers is willing to pay for the entirety of the roster. But I really like the fact that we're going to get to see a lot of these young prospects, a lot of these young guys that have a lot of value to this roster.
So I don't know if we're going to have time to give both lineups before the first pitch. Probably not. But it's Corbin Burns on the mound for Baltimore, coming in at 10-4 with a 2.45 ERA. And Chris just mentioned some of the young guys that we're going to see in the lineup. So let's give you right now Toronto's lineup, perhaps, and then we can do Baltimore's when Baltimore comes to the plate in the bottom half of the first.
All right, well, let's get to Toronto real quick. George Springer, he's DHing. Batting second is Dalton Varsho. He'll be in center field. At first base will be Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He's batting third. Cleaning up is Spencer Horwitz. He'll play second base. Behind the plate will be Alejandro Kirk. He's batting fifth. Batting sixth will be Ernie Clement. He'll be at third base. In right field will be Addison Barger. He's batting seventh. Leo Jimenez will bat eighth and play shortstop. And in left field will be Stuart Burroa. He's batting ninth. And on the mound is Chris Bassitt.
And his counterpart, his battery mate, I suppose, on the other side, Corbin Burns. Not really his mate, his counterpart. Gets set to go for Baltimore. The first pitch of the ball game is popped up by George Springer. First pitch came at 6:36 Eastern time, and it's skied out to second base. And underneath it to make the grab is Jordan Westberg, and there's one away.
Well, Corbin Burns throws a ton of strikes, has only walked 30 guys in 132 innings this season, only given up 107 hits. He is a stud. He has a mid-90s cutter, mixes in a sinker at 97, 98 miles an hour. Then he has a curve, a slider, and a change, and he will throw any of those pitches in any counts.
Dalton Varsho steps in, the left-handed bat against the righty Burns, and Burns fires in the fastball for a strike, and he's ahead in the count 0-1. Varsho batting 199 coming into action tonight. Had a couple of home runs in the Texas series where the Blue Jays again swept the Rangers, but then lost game 1 of the double dip yesterday, only to bounce back and get the victory in game 2. So there is the 4 out of 5 that I spoke of in terms of the Blue Jays winning streak. 3 straight, followed by a loss, followed by a win, and now trying to get that streak up to at least 2 tonight. But Dalton Varsho just swung through the 0-2 pitch, strikes out, and there's now 2 away.
And there's that 97-mile-an-hour cutter that you rarely see from anybody in the big leagues. Corbin Burns might be one of the couple of guys that can throw that cutter that hard with that velocity. He just blows it by Dalton Varsho above the strike zone for strike 3.
So it brings up the number 3 hitter in the lineup, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who was an absolute monster yesterday in both games.
He's been a monster for a while, my friend.
You're right about that. The average coming into tonight now up to 311. The 0-1 pitch to Vladdy inside, and it's now even at 1-1.
Over his last 15 games, he's hitting .439. The smaller sample size over his last 7 games, he's hitting .577 with 4 home runs, 9 RBIs. Absolute beast.
Did you do your homework last night that I assigned to you? The 1-1 fouled off by Vladdy.
I forget what
and
the
it's now
homework
1
was.
and 2. You were supposed to track down the pre-haircut and post-haircut numbers for me.
I thought you said Show was going to do that.
No, you said Show was going to do that.
Well, no, I think I assumed Show was going to do it.
All right, well,
Show
Ali,
always knows those little stats like that.
Our host, of course, at Baseball Control, excuse me. Maybe Show will bring us a little nugget at some point. I'm sure he's got that. In fact, he probably has it tattooed on his brain already. The 1-2 pitch is down in the dirt from Corbin Burns. The slider no good. It's now 2-2 to Vladdy. Here's the pitch. And Guerrero chops at it and slaps it foul toward the third base dugout. We'll do it again at 2-2.
And there was that sinker. They tried to come in, busted in on his hands. That was 99 miles an hour from Corbin Burns. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was able to just foul it back.
The 2-2 pitch. And Vladdy, guess what? Punches another base hit into right center. And he gets on with 2 away here in the first.
The thing that I love about that approach right there is he really wasn't trying to do too much. He knew that he had 2 strikes on him. He knew that he was trying to use the big part of the field. That was a tough pitch, 98 in on the hands, and he kind of just shoved it out there, muscled it out there into center field in front of Cedric Mullins. That is a great approach from a very hot hitter.
And a guy who's swung the bat pretty well for the Blue Jays as well. Spencer Horwitz comes up. He's taken a little bit of a dip of late. Struggled a little bit yesterday in both games. But in 43 games, still with solid numbers, 4 home runs, 16 runs batted in, and the average sitting at 285. And he often, almost always, battles when he's in the box. We see him regularly getting to 6, 8, 10 pitches. Doesn't matter what the count is. He continues to battle against whoever he's facing. He's ahead in the count right now, 1-0, as the first pitch was a curveball from Burns. The 1-0 delivery, and Horwitz slaps it foul down the first base line. And it actually gets by the ball person down there on the side. Got to get that glove down on the ground. Got to scoop those things up. Come on now.
Don't be so hard on the ball attendants.
I'm sure I would have missed it too.
You definitely would have missed it.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. And Vladdy was taking off. Got a pretty good jump on that. But Horwitz swung, got a piece, fouled it off. So Vladdy's got to trot back to first. And now Spencer down 1-2 in the count.
Vlad with the rare stolen base attempt. Only 2 stolen bases this season, 20 in his career. But you're right. I think he took off on that pitch. Spencer Horwitz was able to foul it off.
And now Horwitz asks for time, steps out of the box. And Corbin Burns just stayed on the rubber that whole time, and now he finally does step away, reset, take a deep breath, get a sign from Adley Rutschman. And now comes set. Here's the 1-2 delivery. And it's down in the dirt, and they say Horwitz offered at it, and it's a strikeout to Spencer Horwitz. We must not have the great angle, because I didn't think it looked like it was that bad from Spencer there, but call it a strikeout, and the Blue Jays go down in the first inning with no score. They leave 1 on. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
George Springer takes his love for hockey seriously. It's even starting to show in his post-game press conferences.
All right, first.
Hey, George, big catch by Dalton there in the 8th.
You know, Varshy's a grinder.
Really felt like a team effort tonight.
26 guys. Takes all 26 guys. Yeah, bud. This one was a barn burner. Just tried to get the barrel on it, eh? Yeah, that was a beauty, eh? Those guys were chirping. They wanted to drop the mitts. Next.
Get down to Rogers Center on August 7th and get your George Springer replica hockey jersey presented by TD. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know your vehicle rusts faster in warm weather? Protect your vehicle today. For a special summer offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com. At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting, because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
Hey, this is Bo Bichette. You're listening to Toronto Blue Jays baseball on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back. Eric Smith and Chris LaRue with you, getting set to start the bottom half of the first inning. And it'll be Chris Bassitt on the mound for the Blue Jays, in for a strike with the sinker to Colton Cowser, the left fielder, batting from the left side. And he's now down in the count 0-1. Bassitt with the 0-1 delivery, and it's fouled off and quickly 0-2. The first inning is brought to you by Armstrong Bird Food. Bring nature to your backyard with Armstrong. Feeding Blue Jays since 1986. Visit ArmstrongBirdFood.com. We'll get you the rest of the Baltimore lineup here maybe after Colton Cowser and his first at-bat of this ballgame. With no score in the bottom of the first, and Cowser just fouls one off down the third base line out into left field. And we'll do it again at 0-2. Bassitt gets the sign from Kirk. And outside and high, it's now 1-2. He missed with the cutter. Now he comes in with a splitter on the 1-2, and that one's fouled off. We'll do it again at 1-2.
Don't look now, but new Blue Jay Joey Loperfido is sitting in the dugout wearing, you guessed it, number 9.
I love it. The body is still warm. And Cowser just smacked a base hit past Spencer Horwitz at second into right field. And Baltimore gets the leadoff man on.
Well, Colton Cowser hit that first inning homer last night, and he gets that first inning single here today, ripping a good line drive into right field. Addison Barger picks it up and throws it back in. But let's get you to the Baltimore Orioles starting lineup. We just saw Colton Cowser leading off. He's in left field. Adley Rutschman is behind the plate batting second. Gunnar Henderson is at short batting third. Anthony Santander is in right batting fourth. Ryan O'Hearn will bat fifth, and DH at first is Ryan Mountcastle. He'll bat sixth. Batting seventh is Jordan Westberg. He'll be at second base. Batting eighth is Cedric Mullins in center field. And batting ninth is Ramon Urias. He'll play third base.
And Rutschman just took a ball on the first pitch from Bassitt. Rutschman, the switch-hitting catcher, batting from the left side against the righty Bassitt. Ahead in the count now, 1-0. He's got 17 home runs on the season. And the 1-0 pitch is outside, and it's now 2-0.
He is really struggling, though. That average down to 263 on the season. He came out of the gates hot.
And we're getting a shot from our Sportsnet TV friends of Joey Loperfido on the Blue Jay bench in the dugout chatting with Davis Schneider, not in the lineup tonight.
In the last 30 games, Adley Rutschman is hitting only 181. It's not very Rutschman-like.
Well, you certainly hope he doesn't get going here if you're a Blue Jay fan. The 3-0 pitch from Bassitt catches the outside edge. Bassitt got the benefit of a call there. It looked like it might have been a bit outside. But now 3-1. The home plate umpire tonight, Jonathan Parra. At first, Adrian Johnson. At second, Ramon DeJesus. And at third, Junior Valentine. Bassitt gets the sign from Kirk. And here's the 3-1 delivery, and Rutschman fouls it up and over the backstop into the stands. And the count now full.
That's how you know that Adley Rutschman isn't really seeing the ball very well. That was just a four-seam fastball right down the middle, and he missed it, fouled it straight back. Normally he tattoos that baseball somewhere.
Bassitt fighting back to 3-2. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Rutschman sits down, and throw him out. at second base as well. A strike him out, throw him out, as the head first dive from Cowser, but that toss from Kirk right on the money. Cowser right now is staying at the bag. He wants Baltimore to review that thing. He thinks he was safe. He immediately put his hand up saying, check that review. He thought he got in there first.
Well, it looked to me like Leo Jimenez caught that baseball and got Colton Cowser on the hip right before that left hand of Colton Cowser touched second base. And I think I'm right. They're not going to review this ball or this out here.
When in doubt, trust LaRue. Speaking of LaRue, it's Eric Smith and Chris LaRue in the Timbermart broadcast booth. I sound like I'm cutting a promo for you from like a law firm or something. When in doubt, trust LaRue. I'm telling you, your track record, at least when I've been doing games with you, is if it's not 100%, it's 95 plus on reviews. The 0-1 pitch to Gunnar Henderson is fouled off, and now Bassitt quickly gets ahead. 0-2 on Henderson, and after giving up the leadoff single with the strikeout throwout, Bassitt has a chance to now sit down the Orioles unconventionally. 1-2-3.
You got to love it if you're the starting pitcher. Alejandro Kirk doing a good job back there.
The 0-2 pitch outside. It's now 1-2. In his career against Chris Bassitt, Gunnar Henderson is 3 for 6 with 2 home runs. But he's down in the count 1-2 right now. Bassitt to the lefty. Henderson, and missed way high on that one. That pitch got away from him on the changeup. It's now 2-2. We're about 15 minutes into this ball game in the bottom of the first inning. No score. The Blue Jays got 1 base hit in the top of the first. The Orioles thus far with 1 here in the bottom of the first, but nothing across the plate for either team. And now Henderson fouls off another one, and we'll do it again at 2-2.
Chris Bassitt actually looked back at the mound after throwing that pitch there. Probably slipped on the mound. Maybe there's a hole in the mound that he doesn't love. Yeah, just seeing the replay, he slipped when he threw that pitch. That was a fastball right down the middle. He got lucky there that Gunnar Henderson just fouled it back.
They're looking to go inside on Henderson. Here's the 2-2. And that's exactly where Kirk wanted it. But Henderson laid off. It was too far inside, so another full count. Bassitt stepping away from the rubber for a moment. Now comes back on. Here's the 3-2 pitch. And down low. And a free pass to Gunnar Henderson, which will bring up the big bat. The other big bat of Anthony Santander.
Well, Anthony Santander has 30 home runs on the season. Gunnar Henderson with 28. A couple of big boppers in this lineup. Hitting 3-4 for the Baltimore Orioles.
Another lefty bat as well. A ton of lefties and or switch hitters in this lineup. Santander is one of those switch hitters, but as I just said, batting from the left side against, of course, the righty Chris Bassitt. And Bassitt just missed with the fastball. It's a 1-0 count. The second pitch, the curveball, hooks way inside, and it's now 2-0. Santander batting .243 on the season, so he's got the big numbers in terms of the home runs and the runs batted in. Not a terrible average, but not great either. And he just slapped an opposite field shot right down the line into the left field corner, coming around and hoping to score, and he will, is Gunnar Henderson. He turned on the jets and came all the way from first. And it's a stand-up double for Anthony Santander and an early lead for the Baltimore Orioles.
Well, Gunnar Henderson has a ton of speed. He was moving around the bases. He has 14 stolen bases this season. But Anthony Santander just hits that ball the other way down the third base line. Ernie Clement was playing towards second base, almost where the shortstop would normally play. So placed really well from Santander. He ends up with a double and an RBI, and the Baltimore Orioles lead 1-0.
And that walk comes back to bite Bassitt.
2-out walk.
He got the gift of the Kirk throwout of Colton Cowser, who led off the game with a base hit. And as Chris just said, with 2 out, he gave up the walk that immediately came around to score. And now he's trying to get out of this inning and limit the damage with a runner in scoring position still for Baltimore. That's Santander with the double moments ago. Ryan O'Hearn, the DH in the ball game. Yet another left-handed bat, even in the count at 1-1. Here's the pitch from Bassitt, and it looked pretty good on the upper edge of the zone. They don't give him the call, though, and it's now 2-1. Chris Bassitt in July has an ERA over 6.2 after being golden through May and June. The 2-1 pitch to O'Hearn, and he sends it foul down the first base side. And it actually ends up ricocheting off the wall and gets stuck behind the tarp there down on right field. We're hoping to not see the tarp. There is weather in the area in Baltimore. And having a long first inning like this might not help matters.
You know you're not supposed to say that, right?
I don't buy into that stuff. It doesn't rain in basketball.
It doesn't rain at the Rogers Center either.
The 2-2 pitch is fouled off by O'Hearn, so we'll do it again at 2-2. He has hit .294 this season with 2 out and a runner in scoring position. That's some clutch hitting from O'Hearn. We'll see if he can do it again right here. The pitch from Bassitt down low, and O'Hearn held off on that slider. So another full count. Bassitt approaching 30 pitches now in this first inning.
He's really struggled to put guys away. He gets 2 outs or 2 strikes and doesn't really have the quality of the pitch to put somebody away, especially with that off-speed stuff.
The 3-2 pitch is chopped foul down the first base side, dribbling toward the dugout. And we'll do it again at 3-2.
That was a pretty good one right there, right on cue. Little slow breaking ball, started in the strike zone and broke out. Ryan O'Hearn just fouls it off.
A quick look out at second. Bassitt turns, fires the 3-2, and another one fouled off. This one rocketed down into the left field side, into the stands. And we'll now get set for the 9th pitch of this at-bat. And Bassitt now sitting at an even 30 pitches thrown here in the first inning. Baltimore leading 1-0 with 2 away. And Bassitt might have got away with one there. That slider kind of hung up over the plate, and it was sent foul down the right field side by O'Hearn. That ball girl's been busy down there on the first base side. Bassitt stepping off the rubber, adjusts his belt, now comes back. The Jays in baby blue tonight. And Bassitt still not ready. Stepped off again, now he comes back on. Takes a deep breath and gets set for the 3-2. And this one is punched into left field, but lots of room for Stuart Baroa to make the grab and retire the Orioles. But Baltimore gets 1 as we head to the second inning. Baltimore up 1-0. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Probably thinking, why do Deadpool and Wolverine have their own SiriusXM channel? This is called press. You have to promote your movie. Deadpool and Wolverine in theaters now. So jump in for some wild music, hardly any sarcasm.
Okay, guys, let's get out there and make a difference.
And an irresponsible amount of, you know, Deadpool and Wolverine Radio. Now for a limited time exclusively in the SiriusXM app. Search Deadpool and Wolverine.
Are you regretting eating that gas station hot dog? Yeah, we know. We've been there too. This is a message for baseball fans like you. Did you know that you get a channel that's talking baseball 24/7 as part of your SiriusXM subscription?
What?
Our lineup includes shows hosted by former big leaguers and executives. Plus, you'll hear from 17 managers each week. MLB Network Radio is on SiriusXM Channel 89. Or just search MLB Network Radio on the SXM app. SiriusXM Sports. We're more than just a game.
The NFL Radio Training Camp Tour is here.
The process with all our players is to come out and improve, get better each day.
Nobody gets you ready for the 2024 season like we do.
For the veteran players, they want to see the guy earn the job.
Don't miss analysis from our experts and interviews with head coaches, executives, and players.
We embrace this portion of our journey. We're just here to work and get better.
Hear coverage of the National Football League all year long on NFL Radio Channel 88 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
The Blue Jays are in flight, leading 3-0.
Blue Jays fans, this is Ross Atkins, and you're listening to Blue Jays Baseball on Sirius XM.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
Second inning is presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app for today's baseball odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus. Play responsibly. Ontario only. Burns with the first pitch to Alejandro Kirk, and it's right down Main Street. The cutter at 96. Good for a strike and an 0-1 count. We'll mention more about this in the fifth inning when we talk about the injury report, which will be more like the roster report. But the Blue Jays did make two more moves today, with Isaiah Kiner-Falefa being traded to the Pittsburgh Pirates and Trevor Richards to the Minnesota Twins.
What time do you think that IKF trade happened at? Maybe with 10 minutes to go before the deadline?
About that, yep. The second pitch, no good. The slider, it's now 1-1, and quickly back with a curveball to go ahead 1-2 against Kirk. Burns trying to sit down the leadoff man of this second inning. He had 2 strikeouts in the first inning, sat down Horwitz and Varsho. Trying to strike out Kirk right here, but instead Alejandro sends one out to short. It's picked up by Henderson, and Gunnar Henderson throws over to first to Ryan Mountcastle to record the out. There's one away. Again, it's Eric Smith and Chris LaRue in the Timbermart broadcast booth. We keep getting shots of Joey Loperfido in the Blue Jay dugout. And as Chris mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, if you didn't hear, he's wearing number 9. So if you've got a Danny Jansen jersey, I think you could probably take it down to Jay's shop and try and do, get those letters tweezered off or something and then put Loperfido on there.
Not for free, of course.
Oh, not for free. No, Chris will pay for it, but not me. First pitch to Clement was a strike, and then Burns comes back with a curveball missing. It's now 1-1.
Did you see who was traded to the Marlins for Trevor Rogers? Connor Norby. He was just in the ball game last night. We were talking a lot about him.
And I heard there was already some chatter about the fact that he could be an everyday guy for the Marlins. I mean, that maybe doesn't say a whole lot because the Marlins don't have a lot of everyday guys in general, but. And speaking of Danny Jansen, he'll have a chance to catch up with Justin Turner at some point tonight, with Turner now wearing the navy blue of the Seattle Mariners. And, of course, the deal that sent Danny Jansen a couple of days ago to the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, Justin Turner really didn't have to go very far. The Seattle Mariners are in Boston tonight.
Well, I know there was some speculating, and I think they were just doing it more in jest and fun. But would Justin Turner have time being dealt early in game 1 yesterday? Would he have had time to get to Boston in time for that game and make a Seattle debut on the same day? I got to think that probably wouldn't be legal anyways. It would be against some sort of Major League Baseball rule to start for the Blue Jays in a 3 o'clock game, get a base hit, then hop on a plane and get to your new team by 7 o'clock Eastern and play last night against the Red Sox. But he is in uniform tonight playing Boston. And as we talk about Justin Turner, Ernie Clement grounds out to short. There's 2 away here in the second inning. Blue Jays with just 1 hit thus far. It was Vladimir Guerrero Jr., but he was stranded at first in the first inning. Barger tries to jump on the first pitch, sends it out to second base. It's gobbled up by Westberg on to first to Mountcastle, and the Blue Jays go down 1-2-3. On to the bottom half of the second we go. Toronto trailing 1-0. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hey, Blue Jays fans, are you ready to hit a home run with your next roof? Introducing GAF Timberline HDZ shingles, designed to keep your roof looking and feeling like a winner, rain or shine. GAF is proud to be the official shingle of the Toronto Blue Jays. Visit homedepot.ca and search GAF to learn more about how GAF Timberline HDZ roofing shingles can elevate your home to the next level. GAF, we protect what matters most.
Lumos. Witches, wizards, and muggles come down to the core as Roger Center transforms into Hogwarts. Harry Potter-themed entertainment and activities around the ballpark.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Magic moments create core memories. So fly down to Roger Center on Friday, August 9th, and get one of 4 Blue Jays Harry Potter Hogwarts House Raglan shirts. Harry Potter Night. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle.
Did you know your vehicle rusts faster in warm weather? Protect your vehicle today. For a special summer offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Varsho smashes the ball to right field. It's gone!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back, Eric Smith and Chris LaRue with you as we get set for the bottom half of the second inning. And Baltimore already leading 1-0. They'll see if they can tack on a little bit more here in the bottom half of the second. Chris Bassitt will, of course, try to put a stop to that. Bassitt had 2 out in the first inning before he gave up a walk to Gunnar Henderson. And very quickly, Henderson scored on the very next batter as Anthony Santander slapped a double in the left field corner. And Henderson, after that walk, came all the way around from first to score. And that is the score right now, 1-0. And now Bassitt even in the count with Ryan Mountcastle batting from the right side, the Baltimore first baseman. Mountcastle staring down Bassitt. Here's the 1-1 pitch, and he sends one into center field on the run, and making it look easy is Dalton Varsho. There's one away.
Well, not a bad pitch from Chris Bassitt, but Ryan Mountcastle goes down and gets that sweeper below the strike zone, hits a good line drive to center field, but like you said, Dalton Varsho just tracks it down, makes that catch with ease at the chest, and throws it back into second base.
Brings up Jordan Westberg, the second baseman, back-to-back righty bats. And it's the only part of the lineup where we see that, with, again, a lot of lefties and a number of switch hitters in this Baltimore lineup. First pitch from Bassitt catches the bottom part of the zone on a heater. That sinker at 93, and he's ahead 0-1.
Everyone in this lineup for the Baltimore Orioles has at least 11 home runs outside of Ramon Urias. That is a powerful lineup.
And now the 0-1 pitch is punched down the right field line. Barger on the run, but it makes it into the stand. So Addison just got in his steps as he turns around and trots back to his spot in right field.
Do you know how many guys have at least 11 home runs in the Blue Jays lineup?
In the lineup?
Without looking.
I'm going to guess 4.
3. Orioles have 8. The Blue Jays have 3.
And Baltimore leads on the scoreboard right now, 1-0. Westberg down in the count 0-2 to Bassitt, who just came back with a pretty nice looking sweeper. He thought it came through the zone. He wanted the call, didn't get it. And he just had a couple of words for Jonathan Parra, the home plate umpire. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Bassitt. And he just missed again on another sweeper. It's now 2-2.
Bassitt shaking his head, nodding his head, shaking it, not really sure what he wants to do. It's always fun to watch him pitch.
The 2-2 delivery to Westberg. Way outside, it's now 3-2. And Bassitt's frustrated right now. He was up 0-2, thought he got strike 3, didn't get it, then came back with 2 more balls. And now he runs the risk of losing Westberg. With Cedric Mullins on deck, there's one away here in the bottom of the second. Full count. Here's the pitch. Down Main Street, chopped down to third. Clement takes it off 2 hops, quickly throws to first, and just gets Westberg. And again, Vladdy with the splits to make the snag.
Well, he's been showing off the bat for a while, but last couple of days, he's been showing off those splits and that flexibility. Ernie Clement with a nice play on that short hop out there in deep third base, but he makes the throw across the diamond. And like you said, Vlad with the stretch and the nice play for out number 2.
I think I'd still be stuck in that position right now trying to get back up. 2 out. First pitch fouled off by Cedric Mullins, the center fielder, batting from the left side. And he's down in the count 0-1. Mullins batting .220 on the season, but as Chris noted a moment ago, he's one of those many guys with 11-plus home runs. He is right at 11 with 38 runs batted in. Nobody on base for him right now, but he's got 38 of them, and he's hoping to get a little 2-out rally going for Baltimore right now. Orioles ahead 1-0, bottom of the second. Bassitt trying to sit down Baltimore 1-2-3 in this second frame. And I'm not sure what's happening, but we're seeing Baltimore already making a phone call. I don't know if that call was down to the bullpen or what.
Yeah, Freddie Gonzalez was on the phone with somebody, and then he told Brandon Hyde to go ahead.
The 0-2. It's slapped by Mullins, and it actually goes off his leg and ricochets in front of the plate. Alejandro Kirk picks it up. And that one will make it into the stands.
I actually have no idea what they could have been talking about. The only thing I could think of is maybe catcher's interference, maybe a pitch clock violation, but I don't even know if you can look at those.
And Kirk did get nabbed for an interference in last night's ballgame. It was actually in the afternoon game in Game 1. It was a part of the meltdown that Yariel Rodriguez had in the first inning when he walked 4 batters and hit a batter and gave up 4 runs, and the Blue Jays never recovered, at least in that game. They certainly recovered in Game 2, bouncing back with the victory to get the split of the doubleheader. Mullins now fouling off the 1-2 pitch. It goes up and over the backstop into the stands, and we'll do it again at 1-2.
Chris Bassitt just threw his 46th pitch of the ball game. He's thrown an inning and 2/3 so far. A lot of pitches.
The 1-2 pitch from Bassitt, and this one is chopped out into center field. Varsho again on the run, makes the grab, retires the side, and Baltimore goes down 1-2-3. On to the third we go. Toronto down 1-0. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
We're 2 men in a truck.ca. We've got lots of men and lots of trucks, so get ready to be moved.
Think 2 men in a truck, 2 men in a truck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think 2 men in a truck, 2 men in a truck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2 men in a truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know your vehicle rusts faster in warm weather? Protect your vehicle today. For a special summer offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com. At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting. Because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Middle in fastball, but he puts it by Cruz. 2 down.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Third inning is brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Glovertown and Clarenville, Newfoundland. Protect your vehicle from rust today. Find your local family-owned Crown at crown.com. Canada's #1 rust protection. First pitch is in for a strike to Leo Jimenez. The cutter good, and an 0-1 count to Leo. And a big whiff on the second pitch as he chased after that slider from Burns, and he's down 0-2.
Leo Jimenez still searching for that first big league homer, 3 RBIs, batting .245 on that small sample size, but tough guy to get it against in Corbin Burns, that's for sure.
And Burns just missed way outside on the slider, was trying to get Leo to chase. He didn't. It's now 1-2. Right behind home plate, I guess just off to the left, at least camera angle, is one of the all-time greats in the history of baseball, Cal Ripken Jr. That wouldn't be too intimidating, coming up to the plate and just looking over, and there's Cal literally in row 1.
It's kind of interesting that he's sitting that close. You'd think he'd be in a box somewhere.
And Jimenez just swung through the 2-2 pitch, went after that sinker, and he sits down. There's one away.
It's also interesting that he's not being mobbed by Baltimore Orioles fans. You know who I saw? I saw last year during the playoffs in Milwaukee. I saw Paul Molitor just sitting in the middle of the stands with his son. Like it was nothing. Nobody was going up and asking for an autograph. Nobody was trying to get his attention. It was actually pretty interesting.
I'm just glad that we're up in the radio booth and not in the stands. Otherwise, I don't think I'd have a partner.
Well, I'd be busy.
Yeah, you'd be busy, but you wouldn't be broadcasting. Like the other day when you left and I didn't know where you were, and suddenly you came back with a 7-year-old kid that joined us on the air.
That was my own fault, though.
Taku from Guelph, the radio star a couple of games ago. Stuart Baroa steps in, another radio star from a couple of days ago. He was our post-game guest after his first major league hit back on the weekend in the sweep of the Rangers. He's now even in the count against Burns at 1-1. And now he skies one out to short. It's in shallow left field. And tracking back on the grass to make the grab is Gunnar Henderson. And there are now 2 away.
Corbin Burns just threw his 32nd pitch of the ball game. A good fastball at 98 right down the middle. Stuart Baroa just popping it up to shallow left field. But Corbin Burns has nasty, nasty stuff.
He's second in Major League Baseball in terms of his ERA, sitting at 2.41, and he throws a strike on the first pitch to George Springer. The curveball drops in beautifully, and Springer down 0-1.
Tough to offer at that breaking ball, that good 12-6 breaking ball when you're thinking 98-mile-an-hour four-seamer, 96-mile-an-hour cutter.
How about a sinker at 99?
Or that.
Springer just fouled that one off, and he's quickly down 0-2. George popped out to second base to start off this ball game. Toronto trailing 1-0, top of the third. Here's the 0-2 pitch from Burns, and it's down low, but Springer went after it, swung through it, and that will do it. Another strikeout for Burns. He's got 4 in the ball game, and on to the bottom of the third we go. Toronto trailing 1-0. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The biggest names in NASCAR talk are now with SiriusXM.
Hey, this is Denny Hamlin, host of Actions Detrimental, driver of the number 11 Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing, and co-owner of 2311 Racing. Join me and my co-host Jared Allen every Monday for a recap of each NASCAR race from the driver's seat. We'll break down how my race went and hopefully ending in victory lane.
Hear Actions Detrimental plus every incredible podcast from Dirty Mo Media right now.
Cheers, Insiders. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight for the Blue Jays and the Orioles matchup. Please make sure to hit that like button down below. Exit out of that chat. Make sure that like button has been hit so we can get more Blue Jays fans here in the chat. We've been sitting around 40 to 50 to 60 likes every game. We got to break that trend. We've got to get this going. Tonight's goal, 75. Let's make it happen, team. We'll see you guys back in the chat. Go Blue Jays, go.
XM app. You love listening to baseball. You love talking about baseball, and so do we. That's why SiriusXM has the only channel on the radio dedicated to baseball 24/7. It's MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM Channel 89. News, opinions, passionate baseball talk from former players and GMs, plus interviews with players, managers, and executives, original specials, and much, much, much more. All baseball, every day, on your radio. If you can hear me right now, you've got MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM Channel 89, and on the SiriusXM app.
24/7, 365 coverage of all things NASCAR. All things NASCAR happens exclusively on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90.
The Sportsnet Radio Network.
Bottom of the third inning from the Timber Mart broadcast booth. Eric Smith and Chris LaRue with you. And the first pitch from Chris Bassitt is sent down the third base line foul. And 0-1 is the count to Ramon Urias. Home plate is home plans. Score the run with timbermart.ca. Find a major league selection of winning plays for a house, garage, and backyard shed, and more. Visit timbermart.ca and win the game with Canada's Building Center. The 0-1 pitch, and it's good for a strike to Urias, and Bassitt ahead, 0-2. We just saw in the commercial break Justin Turner in his debut at bat for the Seattle Mariners, an RBI single to put Seattle up on Boston early in that ball game. As we take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by the St. Louis Bar and Grill. One other score to tell you about: Cleveland leading Detroit 5-0, and no score in the top of the first. It's just underway between the Cubs and the Reds. We'll give you a bunch of other games as the night goes on. Bottom of the third, Baltimore leading Toronto 1-0. And the 1-2 pitch to Urias is no good from Bassitt, missing way high on a fastball. It's now 2-2.
I'm surprised you're not mentioning men's basketball versus Australia today.
Big win for Team Canada. The men were down 4 at the half and then dominated the Aussies in the second half, outscoring them by 14 for a 10-point victory. And Canada sits atop their bracket. And Urias sends one to right field on a solo shot. Take that, Chris LaRue. He might not have 11, but he's trying to get in on the party as he just smacked a home run, his 5th of the season, to put Baltimore up 2-0 on the Jays.
Well, Ramon Urias must be listening to the broadcast. He's upset with me. He just takes that fastball on the outside part of the plate from Chris Bassitt, and he smoked it to right field, going the other way. That's a good piece of hitting. As Cal Ripken Jr. standing, giving him a nice ovation. Like you said, hitting his 5th home run of the season.
And the tough thing for Bassitt is he was ahead in the count 0-2 and battled back, Urias did, and then eventually won the battle with that solo shot. So Toronto now down in a 2-0 hole as we go to the top of the order for Baltimore with Colton Cowser. None out here, bottom of the third. And the 1-0 pitch sent into right field. And that's exactly what Cowser did the first time he was up back in the first inning. A base hit to right field. And now Bassitt in a little bit of trouble here with a run in, a man on, and still none out.
Yeah, Chris Bassitt, Alejandro Kirk, they were trying to elevate that cutter. You could see Alejandro Kirk with the target above the strike zone. But unfortunately, Chris Bassitt throws that pitch right down the middle. Colton Cowser just drills that thing through the hole on the right side. Nobody out. Runner on first now for the Orioles.
And first pitch swinging. Adley Rutschman fouls off the fastball. And he's down in the count 0-1. I can only guess from the oohs and ahs that somebody just did something special in the stands.
Or somebody got hit.
You think they'd ooh and ah like that? Like it sounded like a cheer. Ooh. Wow, you care a lot. A base hit to center field from Rutschman. Varsho got on it quick to hold Cowser at second, but now first and second, none out, and again a run already in this inning.
Not a bad pitch from Chris Bassitt. A changeup down in the zone. Adley Rutschman goes down and gets it, golfs it right past the head of Chris Bassitt. He tried to reach out and snag it with his glove, but couldn't get to it. It was hit pretty hard up the middle on a line. Now the Orioles are in business, first and second, and still nobody out.
Rutschman at first, Cowser at second, and Gunnar Henderson steps in. And it's 5 straight lefty bats against Chris Bassitt. Cowser the lefty, Rutschman the switch, Gunnar Henderson the left-handed bat, Santander on deck the switch hitter, and then in the hole Ryan O'Hearn the lefty. So Bassitt will have to be on his game right here.
And And there's, like we talked about earlier, there is no break in this lineup. 8 of the 9 guys in this Baltimore Orioles lineup have 11 or more home runs.
And all of them have 5 or more.
4 just didn't seem great. 5 is a lot. I could say that now.
First pitch to Henderson, no good. The sinker missing low from Bassitt. He quickly deals on the 1-0 pitch and came back with a curveball clocked at just 72 miles an hour. And Henderson swung through that one. It's 1-1.
I know what I should have said now. 8 of the 9 Baltimore Orioles batters are sitting in double digits in homers. How about that?
That's good. I like it. I like it. And now you can say everybody's 5 or more. I mean, there's dudes on the bench that would actually still, I believe, apply to your stat, to your theory, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
At least one. There's one I'm thinking of. Might be 2. Bassitt just came back with a cutter to pull ahead in the count. Now 1-2. He's trying to get himself out of a jam here in the 3rd inning. 2 on, none out. Already a run in. A quick look out at second to Cowser. Turning, firing, and Henderson sends one opposite field, but it's going to be foul. We'll do it again at 1-2.
There is nobody on the Baltimore Orioles bench that has 11 or more homers.
Really? I thought there was at least one. No?
Heston Kjerstad has 3. James McCann, who has multiple fractures in his nose, has 3.
By the way, McCann is active and still in the lineup for the Orioles tonight.
Which is silly.
His face looks horrible. I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm talking about the injury. I know that sounded worse than I intended it to. The 1-2 pitch fouled off. We continue to battle here. Henderson and Bassitt, as Chris Bassitt has now thrown over 60 pitches, 61 to be exact. The crowd trying to buzz a little bit here in Baltimore to rally on their Orioles. Baltimore's got a chance to really try and rip this game open here in this 3rd inning. And missing way high on the 1-2. Bassitt looks frustrated right now. A big huff of frustration and a big sigh as he steps off the mound. And you can tell it's a very hot, sticky, humid night in Baltimore yet again. Most of the players, and especially Chris Bassitt, you can see the sweat just pouring through their jerseys.
There's 2 positions that are really tough to play in Baltimore. Pitcher and catcher.
And Henderson sent one into right field on the run. Barger can't get to it. He had a long run from where he was playing, where he was set up out in right. The only thing that helps Toronto is that Cowser wasn't able to score. He had to respect the fact that Barger might get there. So the bases are loaded with none out.
Well, Addison Barger did a good job actually faking out Colton Cowser. Colton Cowser had to stay close to second base, like you said. Thought that Addison Barger might catch that baseball, but Addison Barger put his glove up in the air like he was going to catch the baseball.
And first pitch swinging right back to Bassitt. They throw to Kirk for one. Kirk to first to get 2. An unconventional double play, and now 2 down with runners at second and third for Baltimore. What a play for Bassitt and the Jays.
That is a huge play. And like you said, unconventional. Usually you'll go to second base with that, but that ball was hit right back at Chris Bassitt. Makes the easy throw home. And then Alejandro Kirk with the nice throw to Vlad's chest at first base for out number 2. Still a 2-0 ball game as Pete Walker comes out and has a chat with Chris Bassitt.
Do you think they might issue the free pass to O'Hearn? I mean, facing the lefty and try and go after Mountcastle, the righty, or no?
The only reason I don't hate that idea. The only reason why I wouldn't is because Chris Bassitt has been a little bit erratic so far tonight. His command has been a little bit off, and you don't want the bases loaded. You have nowhere to put the guy that's standing in the batter's box. If you want to walk him, if you want to give him the free pass, maybe just pitch around him. Don't throw anything in the strike zone. Maybe Ryan O'Hearn can get himself out.
Baltimore leading 2-0. They scored 1 in the first and then got a solo shot from Ramon Urias to start this inning. And they're trying to put more on the board, but the Blue Jays just got out of a partial jam, and they're trying to get fully out right now. It was bases loaded, none out. And Toronto just got the double play with the power bat of Anthony Santander grounding out straight at Chris Bassitt, who threw home to Kirk, who then threw to first to Vladdy. And there's now 2 down with 2 on, second and third. The 1-0 pitch is punched into left field, and it's going to drop in. Barreau was deep in left field and had no chance to get there. And that's going to cash in 2 for Baltimore. So they end up doing the damage after Toronto got a gift. The God said nope. And Baltimore now leads 4-0.
That is just bad luck for the Blue Jays and Chris Bassitt. A good pitch, 94, in on the hands of Ryan O'Hearn. He just loops it over Ernie Clement at third base, right in front of Stuart Baroa in left field down that line, and that is a tough break for Chris Bassitt. You can see him shaking his head in disbelief.
First pitch to Mountcastle, in for a strike. The sinker clocked at 93. And the count 0-1. Mountcastle lining out to second base in his first at-bat. O'Hearn at first. 3 runs in this inning, 4 for the game. Baltimore leading 4-0. The 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss from Mountcastle, and quickly 0-2. Pretty confident in saying that Chris Bassitt's upset right now. He is working fast. He wants to sit down Mountcastle and get out of this thing.
Well, he's also thrown 68 pitches.
There's that too. The 0-2 pitch, and Mountcastle got underneath it, skied it out to left field on the run, camping underneath it, making the wrap is Stuart Baroa, and the Jays finally get out of the inning. But we go to the 4th with Toronto trailing 4-0. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
I'm John Paul Morosi, host of the SiriusXM original podcast, The Road to Cooperstown. Each week, I talk with the Baseball Hall of Famer about the challenges they overcame to become an all-time great.
It is a hard game, and mentally it's hard.
My legs started shaking.
They pretty much knew I was going to have lung surgery after the season. I wasn't for sure. Would I ever play baseball again?
The Road to Cooperstown is the official podcast of the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. Episodes are available now on the all-new SiriusXM app or wherever you get your podcasts.
You love listening to baseball. You love talking about baseball. You love yelling at your buddies about baseball because they love baseball, and so do we. That's why SiriusXM has the only channel on the radio dedicated to baseball 24/7. It's MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM Channel 89. News, opinions, passionate baseball talk from former players and GMs, plus interviews with players, managers, and executives, and much, much, much more. If you can hear me right now, you've got MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM Channel 89, and on the SiriusXM app.
The most important person in sports is you, the fan.
Let me tell you something. I'm a real fan.
And your place for sports talk is Mad Dog Sports Radio, where your voice is heard all day long.
I couldn't wait to get into the truck, turn on 82.
Sharing the thrill of victory.
The joy, the jubilation. I can't stop smiling.
And the agony of defeat.
When is this franchise going to realize people really care about this?
Passionate sports fans call 888-MAD-DOG-6.
You gotta love sports.
Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82, or anytime on the SiriusXM app. Blue Jays fans, after this game, get back to what's really important. Your fantasy football team. We're talking about it right now on Fantasy Sports Radio, Channel 87, and the SiriusXM app.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back. Eric Smith and Chris LaRue with you as we get set to start the 4th inning, and Dalton Varsho steps in. And the first pitch down low in the zone to Varsho. And it's a 1-0 count to Varsho. The left-handed bat of Varsho, he struck out in the first inning. Toronto down 4-0 in this ballgame as Baltimore just scored 3 in the bottom half of the 3rd. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. on deck as Varsho rips one down to first, and a nice stab at first base by Mountcastle, who tosses it over to Corbin Burns covering, steps on the bag, and there's one away.
On Dalton Varsho's follow-through, he actually hit himself in the helmet. The helmet came flying off, and he ran down the line without a helmet on. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Here comes Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and our man, Show Ali, the fabulous host the fabulous host of Jays Talk sometimes, and he's always at Baseball Control. I mean, he's everywhere. He dug up the numbers. I knew Show would have this. We've got the pre-haircut, post-haircut numbers for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Shout out to Chris Black on the TV side as well, the fabulous TV producer who sent me a couple of numbers as well. But Show, no disrespect, Chris, gave me everything. In 73 games, pre-haircut, back when he had the long hair. I'll give you the numbers in a second. The 1-0 pitch to Vladdy. Fouled off. 78 hits, 12 doubles, 7 home runs, 38 walks, 30 runs batted in, the average at 280. In only 33 games since the haircut, 50 hits, 28 less, 13 doubles, 1 more, 14 homers, 7 more, only 8 walks, but heck, it's 40 less games, and 39 runs batted in, 9 more, with a batting average of .376. Like, come on. The numbers speak for themselves, LaRue.
I have the exact same paper in front of me. You don't need to show it to me. You seem excited about this.
I knew there was juice to this. I just like being proven right. I don't get to be right enough.
You just told me you don't believe in that type of stuff, and here you are.
I believe it when it comes to...
thinking that the haircut had something to do with the swing.
Because I've got hair jealousy. Follicle envy. Vladdy down in the count 1-2. He's already got a hit in this ball game to push his average up a little bit more to 312. But he would love to help the Jays get some runs going. They're down 4-0. And that cutter, clocked at 98 from Burns, just sailed way high. And Rutschman couldn't even squeeze it. The count now 2-2.
You failed to mention the biggest difference. The slugging percentage.
I wanted you to have to do something. The slugging
percentage in the first 73 games pre-haircut was .398. The OPS was .766 pre-haircut. On June 19th, when he actually got the haircut, and since, that slugging percentage is .790, and his OPS is .1196. How could you forget those?
And he just earned a free pass on a sinker clocked at an even 100 miles per hour, and it was just inside. The Baltimore fans didn't like it, and Vladdy is on with 1 away here in the 4th.
Speaking of the free pass, the on-base percentage is now .790 since the haircut. Pre-haircut, .368. So there you go. Those are all the numbers. Every single number you could imagine. And post-haircut.
Imagine if he completely shaved his head, what might happen.
Well, then you wouldn't be jealous of him.
Spencer Horwitz. Oof. Spencer Horwitz down in the count now 0-1 as he sends a foul ball down the first base side. And he heard a little crack in the bat, so he gets some fresh lumber. 4th inning is brought to you by Bet365. At Bet365, you can watch thousands of live games, build your own bet, and can even make a bet while the game's still being played. 19 plus. Play responsibly. Ontario only. Horwitz struck out in the first inning. His average sitting at .283. As he gets set for the 0-1 from Burns. Keep in mind, Vladdy tried to take off at least once in the first inning when he was on, and he won't have to do so now, but he will turn the corner and go to third on a base hit into right center for Spencer Horwitz, and Vladdy goes sliding into third. And now the Blue Jays trying to put something together here with runners on the corners and just 1 away.
Well, Vlad does have some sneaky speed. He goes first to third there on the base hit up the middle from Spencer Horwitz. But he didn't want to stop at second at all. You could see him turn on the jets as soon as he gets to second base. Motoring into third, 1 out. Blue Jays have runners on first and third now, and Alejandro Kirk at the plate.
Kirk 0 for 1 in the ballgame. First pitch, and he gets underneath one, sends it deep into center field, back right before the track, and actually now heels on the track. Cedric Mullins makes the grab, and that clearly beyond deep enough to score Vladdy from third. So it's a sac fly RBI for Alejandro Kirk, and Toronto gets on the board. They trail 4-1.
And how big was Vlad going first to third now? Without Vlad going first to third, he would still be on second base. Alejandro Kirk with the deep fly ball to center field, scoring Vlad. And getting the Blue Jays on the board, now 4-1.
Brings up Ernie Clement with Spencer Horwitz still at first. Clement grounded out to short in his first at bat, and he just got plunked. And he'll feel that one. A sinker at 98. Right in the back. He's down on his butt right now. I think he's fine. Easy for me to say. I didn't take a 98 mile an hour to the back, but I think he's going to be fine. He's just feeling the sting right now, feeling the burn, no pun intended, from Corbin Burns.
Well, Jose Ministral, the head trainer, is out to talk to him. John Schneider is having a chat with Ernie Clement. I can imagine that nothing is severely wrong with Ernie Clement. He's a tough guy, but can't feel good. Probably be a big bruise on those ribs tomorrow. 98 miles an hour to the rib cage.
And I'm sure that somewhere Mr. McCann is saying better the ribs than the face. In the Baltimore dugout.
I have to say, though, I've seen James McCann a few times tonight, and he doesn't look that bad. The nose is a little bit crooked. The nose is a little bit crooked, but I thought he would look way worse today.
The nose now looks like a backwards J, and he still has half an eye on one side of his face. Addison Barger coming up now with 2 on and 2 out.
I'm trying to envision what a backwards J looks like.
Like a hook. Barger 0 for 1 in the ball game. He grounded out to second in his first at bat of the ball game. The 1-1 pitch. It was a little bit inside, but Barger went after it, swung through that changeup, and he's now down 1-2. Horwitz at second. Clement at first after getting hit moments ago. Blue Jays have already scored 1 in this inning, and they trail 4-1 in the top of the 4th. Burns with the pitch. And Barger chased again. Yes, he did. The slider was down in the dirt, but Barger offered at it. They checked down at third base, and Junior Valentine said, yes, indeed, he went. And that will do it for the Blue Jays. On to the bottom of the 4th we go. Baltimore leading 4-1. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball. Brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Timber Mart is Canada's building center, a solid neighbor to call upon when you've got a job to do. Your dependable home improvement store that offers the added value of Air Miles reward miles with every purchase of $15 or more. Visit timbermart.ca.
So, you want to be a Looney Dogger, eh? Every Tuesday Blue Jays home game is Looney Dogs Night presented by Schneider's. Grab $1 hot dogs from various concession stands around Rogers Center. Plus, stop by the Schneider's Porch, your hot dog headquarters. The destination for a one-of-a-kind hot dog experience with excellent ballpark views. So, whether you're the relish ringleader or 7th inning snacker, no Blue Jays game is complete without hot dogs. Don't miss out on this delicious deal. Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
Timber Mart always has plans to help you with your plans. Your home, your cottage, your garage, whatever needs your attention first, check the most visited spot on our website for ready-to-order plans to get the job done with Canada's building center. Visit timbermart.ca.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting. Because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Swanson staring at second. Comes home with a 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back. Bottom of the 4th inning. Baltimore leading 4-1. And Jordan Westberg leads things off for Baltimore. First pitch comes in from Chris Bassitt. And a curveball clocked at 69 miles an hour catches the inside edge and an 0-1 count. Now the count even at 1-1. We should mention, by the way, we talked earlier about Isaiah Kiner-Falefa being dealt to Pittsburgh, Trevor Richards to Minnesota. Mea culpa, I failed to pass along the info as well that Kevin Kiermaier was also traded to the Los Angeles Dodgers. So the Blue Jays extremely active today, let alone over the last few days, in moving out a whole lot of parts. The 2-1 pitch now, Bassitt to Westberg is good for a strike. Caught him with the sinker, and now 2-2. Also, our colleague Hazel May tweeting out that Ross Atkins on a Zoom call was asked about the possibility or how close he might have been to trading Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and or Bo Bichette, as Bassitt just struck out Westberg. And Atkins' direct quote here on whether he was close to trading Vladdy and or Bo, quote, "It was never our intention to trade either one of them, period." There's one away here in the bottom of the fourth.
I don't see why you would.
I agree.
Definitely,
I 100%
definitely
agree.
not Vlad. And then Bo Bichette, of course, is a much better player than he's shown this season. So he's probably...
And Cedric Mullins just grounded over to second. Tough grab there for Spencer Horwitz, who makes the backhand grab, the over-the-shoulder throw, and the stretch at first from Vladdy. They're saying for now that Mullins is out, and Baltimore quickly considering if they're going to review.
He looked out to me. Brandon Hyde's going to take a look, though. They're going to try to review this play. They're challenging. But to kind of finish my point about Bo,
Baltimore's challenging to outcall at first base.
He's been so bad this season that why would you trade him when his value is so low? He's a much better player than he's shown, so why not hold on to him, see if he can play well next year and help you get to the World Series? Because that is the plan for the Toronto Blue Jays next year. They're trying to win next year.
So this play is under review right now with one out in the fourth inning. Blue Jays are hoping it's two, but what do you think, Chris? I think it's going to get overturned.
It's pretty close, but I think you're right. I think they'll overturn this call.
It was a great play from Spencer Horwitz, but yep, we just got another angle, and this play is going to be overturned. Cedric Mullins is going to be on first.
Great play from Spencer Horwitz, but Cedric Mullins was just motoring down that line, just beating out the throw from Spencer Horwitz. I'm pretty sure this will get overturned.
Eric Smith and Chris LaRue from the Timbermart broadcast booth here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Baltimore leading 4-1. And I'm not sure why this is taking so long. It seems pretty clear based on the angles we've seen, but we'll make it official in a couple of moments. Good, bad, or otherwise from a Blue Jay perspective. Obviously, Toronto's hoping that it's two-way, but
I'm also unsure why they're challenging with two outs. Ramon Urias.
Well, this would have been the second out, right? It would be only one out with Mullins.
That's right. There you go.
So Bassitt, in the meantime, while he awaits official word, getting in some warm-up pitches. The out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by the St. Louis Bar and Grill. Devilishly good since Toronto first raised the trophy in '92. Join them for wings, ribs, beer, cocktails, and catch every play at your local St. Louis Bar and Grill. Download the app or visit stlouiswings.com for more details. Always devilishly good. The Phillies leading the Yankees 4-1 in the top of the fourth. Boston trailing Seattle 1-0, top of the third. And Tampa trailing Miami in a Battle of Florida 2-0 in the top of the fourth inning. So those are the games involving, of course, the American League East teams. As we still are waiting for the official word.
It looks like they're about to make a call.
After review, the call on the field is overturned. The runner is safe. Baltimore retains their challenge.
And there you have it. So Cedric Mullins is indeed then on first base.
With just one out.
With just one out. Jordan Westberg was called out on strikes. Then Cedric Mullins chopped one out to second base. Spencer Horwitz made a nice play, but just couldn't beat the speedy Mullins on a tough play, on a tough throw, in spite of the stretch from Vladdy. So it's now 1 on, 1 out. as Ramon Urias comes up, who had a solo home run in his last at-bat.
It's pretty interesting that the Dodgers DFA'd Ryan Yarbrough. He's having a decent season, 4-2 with a 3.74 ERA in 67 innings. I'd be upset if I was him and I was DFA'd with those numbers.
And that was who the Blue Jays...
And that was who the Blue Jays traded for Kevin Kiermaier. So a pretty good trade if you're Ross Atkins. That's almost a no-brainer. You're not really utilizing Kevin Kiermaier. He hasn't been playing that well this season. I think this is a good trade.
2-0 count now to Urias, and it's now 3-0 as Bassitt just missed high on a sinker, and he's now thrown 78 pitches. It's not a bad move, obviously, from a Dodgers perspective, too, to have the defense and the veteran presence on the bench. And we talked about the speed of Mullins getting down to first. Well, he just got down to second as well, the stolen base for Cedric Mullins. His 18th of the season. Alejandro Kirk threw it down there, but Mullins was in with ease. He got a great jump on Bassitt's pitch. And now in scoring position for Ramon Urias. A 3-1 count. And that went in for a strike. Caught that edge on the outside. The sinker is good. It's now 3-2.
I think you're right about the trade, though. Kevin Kiermaier is very valuable to the Dodgers in many ways. Defense, base running, and then Yarbrough obviously valuable to the Toronto Blue Jays.
Brendan Little starting to warm up in the Blue Jay bullpen. We're in the 4th inning. And this is probably going to cash a run. Mullins coming around from second to home. He slides in safely, and it's an RBI single for Ramon Urias, the number 9 hitter, now with a homer and an RBI single to help Baltimore to this 5-1 lead.
Well, Urias hit a home run on a fastball earlier on in this ball game, and he got another fastball right down the middle, and he drilled that baseball up the middle for a base hit and an RBI. And now the Orioles lead 5-1.
Chris Bassitt, over 80 pitches thrown now. That was just 82 moments ago, as the sinker was no good to Colton Cowser. To the top of the lineup we go. Third at bat already for Cowser in just this 4th inning. Baltimore leading by 4. Swing and a miss on the changeup. The count even at 1-1. Cowser batting .245 on the season, and that average has gone up tonight as he's 2 for 2 with 2 base hits to right field. He's got a man on first right now. That's Ramon Urias, who just had the RBI single moments ago. Baltimore led 1-0 in this ball game, then went up 4-0. The Blue Jays got back 1 to make it 4-1. It's now 5-1. And they try to pick off Urias at first after the pitch. It was in for a ball on the cutter, and then Alejandro Kirk quickly whipped that thing down to first in trying to catch Urias napping.
And how big was that challenge by Brandon Hyde? Looking back, Cedric Mullins safe at first, overturned call. He then stole second and scored on that single by Urias.
The curveball that just came in moments ago fouled off by Cowser, and it actually caught his foot. He's in a lot of pain right now, hobbling around before he gets set to step back into the box for the 2-2 pitch. Still got a grimace on his face, and understandably so. The 2-2 pitch is high, and immediately Bassitt knew it. He was screaming at himself as he missed. He's now thrown 86 pitches, and the count is full to Colton Cowser. Swing and a miss, and right into the glove of Alejandro Kirk, and he throws down to second, And it looked like for a moment they were going to get Ramon Urias at second. But he slides in, and I believe Leo Jimenez dropped the ball.
No.
Or did he get the ball kicked out of his glove?
Ramon Urias slid directly into the tag. He was very clearly out, but the glove of Leo Jimenez came off, and the ball came out of the glove. So Ramon Urias is safe at second base. Would have been a strike him out, throw him out for the Toronto Blue Jays. Tough play right there for Chris Bassitt, especially Alejandro Kirk.
That would have been the second strike him out, throw him out of the ball game. And Jimenez came away kind of shaking his hand. Hopefully he's okay. And all the digits are in check.
Alejandro Kirk was actually staring out at second base, kind of dumbfounded.
Probably annoyed.
Probably.
Adley Rutschman now gets a chance to get up here with a runner now in scoring position with Urias out at second. 2 out and a 5-1 Baltimore lead. Bassitt tried to paint one inside with a changeup, just missed. It's now 2-0 to Rutschman. We're getting a couple of shots of Jimenez out at short. He seems no worse for the wear. He's probably annoyed at himself too for not hanging on. The 2-0 pitch, and Rutschman gets underneath it and barks out a few colorful words. Frustrated about that one as he sends it into center field. Varsho makes the grab, and that will do it for the Orioles. But they put another one on the board to again lead by 4. It's 5-1 as we go to the 5th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Get closer to progressive political voices
with Sirius XM Progress. Zerlina Maxwell,
Dino Bidala,
Michelangelo Signorelli,
John Fugelsang,
Stephanie Miller,
Tom Arbin, and more. We're going to focus on beating Donald Trump at the ballot box.
The stakes have never been higher.
They want to ban abortion.
I was able to terminate Roe v. Wade.
Understand this. Republicans are coming after medication abortion.
We have work to do. And we have an election to win.
Sirius XM Progress 127.
Your home for progressive political voices.
It's fantasy football season, because we say it is.
Travis Kelce, touchdown!
From fantasy football strategies to players you need to draft or avoid.
Christian McCaffrey is one of the riskiest #1 overall picks in fantasy football history.
Fantasy Sports Radio is your home to win.
There is no bigger value today than Dak Prescott.
If you're not preparing for the 2024 fantasy football season, you're already losing. Channel 87 and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
Wake up! Wake up, everybody! This is Steve Phillips from the leadoff spot on MLB Network Radio. Join me and former Major League Baseball players Eduardo Perez and Xavier Scruggs as we react to all the latest news and scores across baseball and have plenty of fun along the way.
Steve, you were so right about that.
I don't know if anybody else thinks we're funny, but I think we're funny.
Why are you putting us or we into this?
The leadoff spot, weekdays at 7 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network Radio, Channel 89, and on the Sirius XM app.
And it's gone!
Jays fans, this is John Schneider, and you're listening to Blue Jays Baseball on Sirius XM.
There's the exclamation point for all assembled here at Rogers Center.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
The 5th inning is brought to you by Desjardins Financial Group. Desjardins awarded another 150 grants worth $20,000 each to entrepreneurs across Canada. See how Desjardins cheered on small biz at goodsparkgrants.ca.
Mr. 5th inning.
There's
Chris
more.
LaRue.
There's more where that came from.
Oh, yeah? I can't wait for the bottom half of the inning. Problem is, what happens if I don't like your read one night? Am I going to go, oh, that wasn't very good?
You could.
Yeah? All right.
Yeah.
That wasn't very good. Leo Jimenez grounds out to short. And one away here quickly in the 5th inning for the Blue Jays. Gunnar Henderson, picked that one up and rifled it over to first to get Jimenez way ahead. One down now to bring up Stuart Baroa. I was joking, of course. You're Mr. 5th inning. goodsparkgrants.ca. Baroa 0 for 1 in the ball game. And the first pitch in from Burns is a strike, caught the bottom part of the zone on the cutter at 97 and an 0-1 count. Burns back with another low pitch That one too low, though. The cutter missed. Outside and low. It's now 1-1. Barreau, the switch hitter, batting from the left side against the righty Burns. The 1-1 pitch. And swinging through it. Another changeup. It's now 1-2.
That changeup from Corbin Burns was 91 miles an hour. Pretty hard changeup, but when you throw 99, it can be that hard.
Burns wipes his right hand on the back of his thigh, looks in at Adley Rutschman for the sign. Now he comes set. Here's the 1-2 pitch. And it was down low. Burrow went after it. He'll run down to first. And he'll be thrown out. There's 2 away.
Pretty good curveball from Corbin Burns. You could tell Stuart Burrow was thinking something hard, maybe a cutter, fastball up, but Corbin Burns throws that nasty 12-6 curveball in the dirt, and he couldn't hold up.
So the Blue Jays trying to avoid going down 1-2-3 in this 5th inning as we head back to the top of the order for his 3rd at-bat. George Springer, 0 for 2 in the ball game. And the first pitch in from Burns catches the outside edge. George kind of shakes his head. Wasn't totally sure about that. He's not arguing. He was like, okay, maybe it did. 227 on the season for George Springer. And again, 0 for 2 in this ball game. The 0-1 delivery inside, clocked at 98. The sinker, it's 1-1. Here's the 1-1 pitch down Main Street. And Springer couldn't catch up with that 98-mile-per-hour sinker. And he's now down 1-2. The Blue Jays down 5-1 in the ballgame. The 1-2 pitch down in the dirt. And Springer chased it. Burns is having himself a ball game. Another strikeout, and on to the bottom of the 5th we go with Toronto down 5-1. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
You're drafting your fantasy football teams this month, and Fantasy Sports Radio is here to help.
Right side of the end zone, touchdown, CeeDee Lamb.
From winning strategies to expert drafts you can model your teams after, to up-to-the-minute news, your championship run starts right now.
If you are sitting at the 12th pick and you are like, well, there's 10 receivers already gone. What do I take? The second best running back.
Fantasy Sports Radio, Channel 87, and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
Blue Jays fans, your manager, John Schneider, joins MLB Network Radio every other Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern.
Georgie's just been consistent in the clubhouse, consistent with the young guys that have come up. It's been really cool to see him kind of evolve as he gets a little bit older, and it's just been a real steadying presence, through a very unsteady season.
Managers at the mic on MLB Network Radio, Sirius XM 89 and the Sirius XM app.
Hello, Blue Jay fans. I'm Craig Ballard, host of your daily Locked On Blue Jays podcast. Locked On Blue Jays is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On Blue Jays brings you the latest Blue Jays news and analysis and breaks down all of the action. Locked On Blue Jays is everything a Blue Jays fan could want, all in a 30-minute daily podcast. Download Locked On Blue Jays right now on the SXM app, available with all trials and popular plans, or wherever you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Blue Jays.
24/7, 365 coverage of all things NASCAR. All things NASCAR happens exclusively on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90.
Welcome back. Getting set to start the bottom half of the 5th inning, and the night is done for Chris Bassitt. He only made it through 4 innings, gave up 9 hits and 5 earned runs, had 3 strikeouts and a walk through 90 pitches in those 4 innings. And Brendan Little, the left-hander, is going to take over for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, he was very erratic with almost every one of his pitches today. The off-speed pitches, he really couldn't get over for strikes, especially that fastball. When he did get it in the strike zone, it was a very hittable location.
It'll be Gunnar Henderson to lead things off here in the 5th inning for the Orioles. And the first pitch from Brendan Little is way outside, missed with the sinker. It's 1-0. And that went outside as well. The sinker at 95. It's 2-0. Henderson with a single and a walk in this ball game, and 2 runs scored. Baltimore has a team with 5 scored. They leave 5-1 here in the 5th inning. And Little just came back on the 2-0 with a cutter clocked at 93. It's good for a strike. It's now 2-1. This one chopped up and over the head of Little, but picked up at short by Jimenez. Over to first to record the out, and there's 1 away.
This injury report is brought to you by Bergmanis Pereira Personal Injury Lawyers. If life has thrown you a curveball and you're striking out with your insurance company, get ahead of the count and call Bergmanis Pereira Personal Injury Lawyers. You focus on getting better, and Bergmanis Pereira will take care of the rest. Visit bplawyers.ca. Let's not do an injury report. Let's do a trade report.
A roster report, a trade report. Yeah. Sure, let's do it. Brendan Little now dealing with Anthony Santander. And the pitch inside, it's 1-0.
So the Blue Jays have made a ton of trades. I think we've talked about all of them. Kevin Kiermaier was traded to the Dodgers for left-handed pitcher Ryan Yarbrough.
The 1-0 pitch, in for a strike, 1-1.
The Jays also traded IKF Isaiah Kiner-Falefa and cash considerations to the Pirates for third baseman Charles McAdoo. We're not done yet.
The 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss for Santander.
The Jays traded right-handed pitcher Trevor Richards to the Twins for infielder Jay Harry. And some of these guys are minor leaguers. Just a heads up.
Here's the 1-2 pitch to Santander, and it's way down in dirt. I mean, that thing hit about 4 feet in front of the dirt, bouncing it off the grass. It's now 2-2.
The Blue Jays added Joey Loperfido to the Major League roster, so he is in the dugout today. He is on the 26-man roster wearing number 9. They called back up Yariel Rodriguez because Yusei Kikuchi was traded, so they had that open spot. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. Jake Bloss was optioned to AAA. There's a lot going on right now.
The 2-2 pitch to Santander, and he dribbles it down the third base line into foul territory. He's scooped up there by Ernie Clement, who will give somebody a souvenir. We'll do it again at 2-2.
And, of course, Justin Turner was traded to the Seattle Mariners for RJ Schreck. Yusei Kikuchi was traded to the Astros for Jake Bloss, Joey Loperfido, and Will Wagner.
Little getting set for the 2-2 pitch. And it's outside, 3-2.
And then Jimmy Garcia was also traded to the Seattle Mariners. A lot going on, a lot to figure out and digest. But I think Ross Atkins did a pretty good job getting some guys, getting rid of some guys on some expiring contracts. You got to give him some credit.
So the 3-2 count now to Anthony Santander against the lefty Little. Santander, the switch hitter, has been doing this entire at bat from the right side for the first time in this ball game, and he just fouled one off to stay alive at 3-2. I mean, Chris just gave most of the players right there, but when the dust settles and you think about the fact that the Blue Jays traded away 8 guys who all at varying levels contributed in either a large or small way to what the Blue Jays had done through 100+ games this season. The 3-2 pitch coming to Santander. And he sends it into right field. Gave it a pretty good ride. Back at the wall, Addison Barger. And it goes off the top of the wall and into the stands. And it's a home run for Santander. I don't know if Barger thought he was going to have that, because it looks like he could have jumped rather easily. And maybe he misread exactly how high that was, because it hit the wall just above him. And that's not a big part of that wall there. Due respect, I think it might have just been misplayed by the youngster Addison Barger.
Yeah, a little bit misplayed out there. He was backtracking, backpedaling to the wall, and he was about to stick his left arm up with the glove on it to make the catch, and then his back slammed up against the wall, and he wasn't able to get the glove up in time. But that is a very catchable ball, hit off the top of the fence and bounced out of here for a solo shot and a 6-1 Baltimore lead.
And I'll cut him a little bit of slack because you described it pretty well in picking me up. Not only has he backtracked, there's padding that sits out a good at least 6 inches, if not almost a foot, that sits out further than the actual fencing of the wall. So when Barger, when he was backtracking, he felt the fencing, he knew where he was going to go, but then he sort of fell into the corner of the padding, and that sort of caused him to lose his footing or to lose his equilibrium, which prevented him from being able to reach up properly to grab that ball.
Yeah, really.
If that was a straight flat wall like in Toronto,
he would have made the play easily. Yeah,
but
we're not saying it's totally Addison Barger's fault, but that is a very catchable ball.
Well, luckily Brendan Little just came back as we tried to describe the play that just involved Addison Barger. It was a pretty quick at bat as Little sat down Ryan O'Hearn, the lefty, to get the strikeout. And there's now 2 away. But Baltimore has opened up a 6-1 lead here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Ryan Mountcastle comes up now. The first baseman. 13 home runs on the season for the big right-handed bat of Mountcastle, and he takes the first pitch, a knuckle curve, in for a strike.
Have you looked at the rain, the weather?
I haven't.
Want me to tell you the good news or the bad news?
I know what the good news is. The game's official. Mountcastle slaps one out to second, scooped up there by Spencer Horwitz on to first to Vladdy to record the out, and that will do it. But again, Baltimore gets one more. They lead 6-1 as we go to the 6th, and we'll get the weather report from Chris when we come back. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
George Springer takes his love for hockey seriously. It's even starting to show in his post-game press conferences.
All right, first. Hey, George, big catch by Dalton there in the 8th. You know how far she's a grinder.
Really felt like a team effort tonight.
26 guys. Takes all 26 guys. Yeah, bud. This one was a barn burner. Just tried to get the barrel on it, eh? Yeah, that was a beauty, eh? Those guys were chirping. They wanted to drop the mitts. Next.
Get down to Rogers Center on August 7th and get your George Springer replica hockey jersey presented by TD. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
We're 2 men in a truck, the movers who care. You never know when cardiac arrest can happen. That's why each and every one of our trucks carries a life-saving Mikey defibrillator as part of our Mikey.
What's up, everybody? Thank you for hanging out with us for this Blue Jays against the Orioles matchup. Please take a second, make sure you have hit that subscribe button. Are you a part of the best Toronto sports community on YouTube? Make sure you have hit that subscribe button and become an insider right now. Also, make sure that bell is turned on so you don't miss any of our awesome Toronto sports action. If a Toronto team is live, we're live. We're here hanging out in the chat, talking it up. Thanks for being here. We'll see you guys back in the chat. Let's go Blue Jays.
Buying insurance with a heart so big it shows. Tune in for your auto and home coverage at Desjardins.com/heart.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Springer charges the ball to left field. It's in the seats, and the Blue Jays are on the board.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back. 6th inning is brought to you by Desjardins Financial Group. Desjardins is a big fan of small biz. That's why they awarded another $3 million to small business owners across the country as Dalton Varsho sends one out to left field. Camping underneath it to make the grab is Colton Cowser, and there's one away. See how Desjardins cheered on small biz this year at goodsparkgrants.ca. Again, that's goodsparkgrants.ca. Toronto down 6-1 in the top of the 6th. And Vladimir Guerrero Jr. steps in. 1 for 1 in the ball game with a walk and a run. And the average sitting at 312. First pitch to Vladdy. Outside and low. 1-0 count. And the next pitch down low as well. The curveball missing, no good. It actually skipped in the dirt a little bit. Vladdy held off. It's now 2-0. Burns with a fresh baseball comes set. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Down Main Street with the slider. Vladdy held off, and it's a strike. It's 2-1.
And how about that respect? Up 6-1, and you're down in the count 2-0, and you flip in a slider. You throw 99 miles an hour. That's some respect right there from Corbin Burns to Vladimir Guerrero.
The 2-1 pitch, and the sinker at 97 inside, and Vladdy has gone well up in the count now at 3-1. Decked out with the pink pads again tonight. Vladdy just stared at another one that came inside, and he kind of twisted those hands and the bat inwards as that thing came in a little bit too close for comfort inside, and he's going to walk for the second time in this game.
97 right around the hands. Vlad does wear that hand protection, the elbow guard, the ankle guard. He is fully protected, but 97, 98 up around the hands, not a very comfortable feeling.
And this will bring up Spencer Horwitz, swinging at the first pitch and ripping one foul down the right field side. Down in the count 0-1. Spencer with 16 runs batted in on the season, 4 home runs. He's got Vladdy out at first right now. Blue Jays trailing by 5. It's 6-1 Baltimore in the top of the 6th. And a swing and a miss for Horwitz. He's down 0-2.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Because you're the fashionista.
Oh, am I?
How do you feel about the medal outfits for Team Canada?
Can we confirm, Tom Young, that Lululemon is not a sponsor of the Blue Jays broadcast or of Rogers Communications? I'm not a fan. The 0-2 pitch down in the dirt. Nice block there behind the plate from Adley Rutschman. And the count sits at 1-2. I'll say this for the Canadian Olympic team. If it were like going into the gym, going onto the field, going into the pool, whatever, as like a warm-up tracksuit outfit, I don't necessarily mind them. But in terms of wearing what they wore for what I assume will be the closing ceremony and the opening ceremony, and that representing the Canadians in general overall, I kind of felt that it was too casual compared to what a lot of countries were wearing.
I agree.
Like if I saw you walk in tomorrow with one of the Team Canada track jackets or something, or the hoodies from Lululemon, I'd say, man, that looks pretty sharp. But for that to be the actual uniform or what's representing the country for the entire Olympics, yeah, I'm not totally down with it.
But you would think that I look sharp, but you would also probably think that I was a little bit casual.
Correct.
Exactly.
That is a good word. Horwitz has battled back to a 3-2 count. Speaking of fashion, I do love the baby blues, although they are kind of royal blue, dark blue tonight, as everybody's sweating in the heat and humidity of Baltimore on a muggy night in Maryland.
29 degrees at 8:16 Eastern time, and no doubt muggy.
A full count now to Spencer Horwitz with Vladdy at first. And Spencer just punched one, but it's not going to make it down. It's right into the glove of third baseman Ramon Urias, who is a couple of feet out onto the grass, out near the shortstop position, but made the grab with ease, and there's 2 away.
It's a tough cutter in on the hands of Spencer Horwitz. I've said it a few times tonight, but Corbin Burns has some of the best stuff in baseball. That mid to upper 90s cutter, the upper 90s sinker, and then you'll see that 12-6 curveball every now and again. But that cutter right there is almost unhittable.
Alejandro Kirk steps in 0 for 1 in the ball game. He had a sac fly in his last at bat, and he snaps the bat at the first pitch, fouls it off down the right field side, into the stands, and down in the count 0-1. The out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by the St. Louis Bar and Grill. Miami now leading Tampa 3-1. Yankees still down 4-1 to the Phillies. Both of those games in the 5th inning. And in the 4th inning, Boston has come back to take the lead on Seattle. It's 3-2 Red Sox. 6-1 Toronto trailing here in the top of the 6th. And Kirk just got hit. So that's the second hit batsman of the game as Burns shakes his head. That pitch came a little too far inside. And Alejandro Kirk is feeling that right now as he took it off the left bicep, I guess.
It almost looked like he got it off the forearm. That is not a good thing.
Is it that low? I thought it was the bicep.
If you're keeping track of the Blue Jays catching situation, that is not a good thing.
Might have been the elbow, actually, now that I see it.
It's 98 miles an hour. I don't care where it hits you. That's going to hurt. Alejandro Kirk is just walking very gingerly down to first base. Jose Menestral is taking a look at him. John Schneider is out there.
And yet again, I repeat, there's somebody named McCann in the Baltimore dugout that is simply saying, at least it's not your face. And we're getting a close-up right now of Alejandro Kirk's arm, and you can literally see the stitches from the baseball imprinted and bruised onto the elbow area of Alejandro Kirk.
Yeah, I would imagine that he's not going to be catching tomorrow. That'll probably stiffen up. It'll swell up. Keep in mind, that's almost 100 miles an hour off the elbow.
For now, he's out at first with Vladdy at second. Now 2 on with 2 out for Ernie Clement. And Clement slaps at the first pitch and sends it into the Blue Jay dugout, off the netting actually, right in front of the Blue Jay dugout. And he's down 0-1. A golden opportunity for Toronto to do something here, trailing by 4. Clement with 6 home runs, 28 runs batted in on the season. Batting .268. And he chopped this one out to short, and this should do it. Yes, indeed. A little underhand toss from Gunnar Henderson over to second baseman Jordan Westberg, and that will do it for the Blue Jays. They strand 2. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Toronto trailing 6-1. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball. Brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
SiriusXM NFL Radio's training camp tour is on the road, getting you ready for the season. Here our experts break down every team and interview the coaches and star players.
Quarterback for the New York Jets, Aaron Rodgers.
I expect to play at a high level.
Nobody brings you closer to your team than NFL Radio Channel 88.
This is Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes.
This is the Baltimore Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson.
Catch all of our NFL Radio training camp tour shows and exclusive video on the all-new SiriusXM app.
Listen to PGA Tour Radio's library of golf originals on the SiriusXM app. Playing with Tiger.
Rule number 1 when playing with Tiger, keep your mouth shut.
Basically destroy Stephen Ames today, 9-8.
Ryder Cup Chronicles, 10-6.
I have a good feeling about this. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Listen to the entire catalog of golf originals. Search PGA Tour Radio Specials on the SiriusXM app. While you're listening to this game on SiriusXM, we're talking about the latest odds and prop bets for this and every game on Sports Grid Radio.
The under's -125. Heavy juice to the under.
Every home run hit and every strikeout thrown can change the line.
I can't for the life of me figure out how you can favor a team that never wins, ever.
If you're looking for sports talk centered around the latest odds and prop bets for games, races, tournaments, or any sporting event, Sports Grid Radio, SiriusXM, Channel 159.
In season or out of season, the #1 place for college sports is SiriusXM College Sports Radio, Channel 84.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back. Blue Jays trailing 6-1, bottom of the 6th inning. Eric Smith and Chris LaRue with you from the Timbermart broadcast booth as Ryan Burr now into the ball game for the Blue Jays. In 10 games this season, the ERA sits at 5.40, but that was simply inflated from a rough outing in his last appearance because in the previous 9 games, he had pitched very well for Toronto.
I've said this all along that he's got pretty good stuff, pretty good career numbers. Good fastball, mid-90s. He has a pretty good slider. And like you mentioned, it was really just that one outing where he gave up 4 earned runs that is really inflating those season numbers. But Brian Serven is actually going to be in this ball game. He's going to replace Alejandro Kirk, who was just hit on the elbow by an upper 90s fastball. Probably just precautions. You would hope.
You would definitely hope. Obviously, pretty thin position right now for the Blue Jays for the final 50-odd games of the season. So let's hope that everything's okay for Alejandro Kirk. It was the non-throwing hand, but I would say you want your catching arm to be pretty strong, especially at that position. First pitch from Burr, and it's popped up by Jordan Westberg, and that will do it for Westberg. One pitch, one out, as Cedric Mullins now comes up here in the bottom of the 6th. Westberg with that soft little flyout to Leo Jimenez. And now Mullins will try and get on right here. See if he can get things started for Baltimore in this 6th inning, with the Orioles leading the Blue Jays 6-1. Toronto has mustered only 2 hits in this ball game. The Orioles with 10.
We knew it would be a tough game coming in, though, against Corbin Burns, one of the league's best pitchers. And he's showing that tonight. His stuff is pretty top shelf tonight. There's no denying that.
And the next pitch in from Burr is fouled off by Mullins. And now Burr has gotten ahead. 1-2 is the count. First pitch was a called strike. First pitch was the ball. Second pitch was a called strike. Both of them fastballs. And then he just came back with a slider that Mullins couldn't handle. So now a 1-2 count to Mullins. Burr gets the sign from Servin, and the pitch inside. Tried to catch him with the slider. Mullins held off. It's now 2-2. And now Mullins skies one out into shallow center field. And at the last second, Dalton Varsho grabs it. It looked like Leo Jimenez was going to take it. Spencer Horowitz was there, and at the last second, Horowitz just threw his arms and said, I don't know, I don't have it. And Varsho just kind of chugged in casually and said, boys, I got this. He makes the snag, and there's 2 away.
Yeah, you're right. Leo Jimenez and both Spencer Horowitz were going back towards center field, and they both looked at each other with their palms up in the air like they had no clue where it was. But Dalton Varsho comes down with that ball pretty easily.
So 2 down now in the 6th, and the first pitch, a slider in for a strike as Ramon Urias swings through that one. A pretty nifty looking pitch there from Burr. And Urias has had a solid ball game with a solo home run, a single, and 2 runs batted in. And he just chased after another one on the 0-1, got bit hard on that slider, and it's now 0-2. The Blue Jays and Orioles will play tomorrow afternoon in a 4th game in this series. Jays down 6-1 in this ball game right now. They have won 4 out of 5 coming into tonight's tilt.
They play the rare 12:30 on a Wednesday ball game. Don't really see those very often.
They've got the off day on Thursday before a 3-game series on the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, against the New York Yankees, and then back home to host this same Baltimore team early next week. The count now sits at 2-2 to Urias. Here's the pitch, and it's fouled off. Burr came back with a fastball, clocked at 95. And Urias got a piece of that one. We'll do it again at 2-2. Burr checks the sign. Servin sets up outside, and it was down low, and it didn't matter because Urias chased after it. Another nasty slider from Burr. He gets the strikeout, and on to the 7th inning we go with Toronto trailing 6-1. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle.
Did you know your vehicle rusts faster in warm weather? Protect your vehicle today. For a special summer offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
We're twomenintruck.ca. We've got lots of men and lots of trucks, so get ready to be moved.
Think 2 men in a truck, 2 men in a truck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think 2 men in a truck, 2 men in a truck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2 men in a truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
Lumos. Witches, wizards, and muggles come down to the core as Roger Center transforms into Hogwarts. Harry Potter-themed entertainment and activities around the ballpark.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Magic moments create core memories. So fly down to Roger Center on Friday, August 9th, and get one of 4 Blue Jays Harry Potter Hogwarts House Raglan shirts. Harry Potter Night. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
The 0-2 pitch. Fastball, strike 3 looking.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back. Top of the 7th inning. Blue Jays trailing 6-1. They would love to get some sort of a rally going here. Addison Barger will lead things off. And Corbin Burns still in the ballgame, and why not for Baltimore? He just threw his 79th pitch of the game. He's been dealing. Check that, it was pitch 80, excuse me. It was 79 coming into the inning, and now 81 as the 1-0 pitch is down in the dirt. It's now 2-0 to Barger. Barger adjusts the helmet. The left-handed bat playing out in right field today. The 2-0 pitch, and Barger takes a cut at it, fouls it up and over the backstop. It's 2-1. The out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by the St. Louis Bar and Grill. Cincinnati leading Chicago, the Cubs that is, 5-0 top 5. Boston still, nope, check that. It just went 3-3 with Boston and Seattle, and the Mariners have the bases loaded with 1 out in the 5th inning. Barger just ripped a base hit into right field. He was chugging to first. He was thinking about it, but that ball was hit into right field, so it would have been tough for him to try and turn the corner and get to second, as it was cut off well out in right field by Anthony Santander. So it's a leadoff single for Addison Barger.
Yeah, he smoked that ball to right field. He thought for a second that he might be able to get 2. But Anthony Santander ran over, got that ball, threw a seed into second base, keeping Addison Barger at first base. But it's got to feel good for Addison Barger getting a base hit against Corbin Burns.
And now Leo Jimenez tries to get in on the action, swings at the first pitch, fouls it off. Down in the count, 0-1. Jimenez average sits at 236 now. Stealing sort of his first big league home run. Does have a few runs batted in, and there's 1 out there for him right now, although Barger not yet in scoring position, but would love to move him around at least a little bit. This one fouled down the third base line, and a nice scoop by the ball girl down there, hands off a souvenir, and it's 0-2. (6-1) Baltimore leading Toronto. Top of the 7th inning. And Leo did a nice job there holding off on the slider that was way outside and low, but it was clocked at only 90 miles an hour. And the count now sits at 1-2.
And we can actually now confirm that Orioles top prospect Jackson Holliday is going to be called up by the Baltimore Orioles, filling a spot that Connor Norby vacated with that trade earlier today. So I guess we might see him tomorrow. That'll be fun.
We might see Lo Profito tomorrow too. Just acquired from the Houston Astros.
Although Lo Profito is not the #1 prospect in all of baseball.
But he's a new face.
Sure.
Fresh body.
Sure. I'm a front runner.
Hey, you might have to figure things out here for the final 50-odd games of the season. Tell you what, though, the Blue Jays have played some decent baseball of late. I've mentioned a couple of times in this broadcast, winning 4 of 5, but they're down right now 6-1 in this ball game. It's going to take some work to come back in this one. They swept the Rangers on the weekend, then lost the first game of the doubleheader yesterday and showed some moxie in bouncing back and winning that second game of the doubleheader to split the 2 games yesterday. And thus far, they haven't been able to ride that momentum as they trail 6-1 in the 7th inning. The 1-2 count to Jimenez. And he slaps at that one, sends it foul down the first base side. Staying alive now as we get set for the 7th pitch of this at-bat.
Pretty good AB from Leo Jimenez. Corbin Burns now throwing 89 pitches, about to throw his 90th pitch of the ball game.
And there is action out in the Orioles bullpen. Burns looks in at the sign. Again, Barger out at first with none out here in the 7th. And Jimenez slaps one over to third. They throw to second to get Barger. On to first to double off Jimenez. And the double play is not what the Blue Jays wanted. Now 2 down here in the 7th.
And that's how you conserve pitches right there. Corbin Burns at the end of his rope, 90 pitches, and he just flips in that breaking ball. Leo Jimenez hit a weak ground ball to third base for the 4-6-3 double play. Great pitch and a great result for Corbin Burns.
And it brings up the number 9 hitter for the Blue Jays, Stuart Baroa. 0 for 2 in the ball game for Baroa. Blue Jays down 5, and now nobody on base. And Baroa tried to turn on one, the pitch that came inside the cutter at 96, and the count even at 1-1.
Check that. That was a 5-4-3 double play. I don't know why I said 4-6-3.
867-5309. 1-1 right now to Stuart Baroa. And that pitch a little too far outside from Burns. The changeup missed, clocked at 90. Baroa ahead 2-1. We'll be heading to the top of the order here after Baroa with George Springer on deck. Burns gets the sign. Comes set. The leg kick and the delivery. And Baroa got underneath it, sent it foul. Up and over the Blue Jay dugout, about 20 rows deep into the stands, and it's now 2-2. Blue Jays really haven't been able to muster a whole lot tonight. Only 3 hits in the ball game and just 1 run. Their lone run came back in the 4th inning after Vladimir Guerrero walked. He eventually came around to score, but the Blue Jays have trailed the entire ball game thus far. And the 2-2 pitch is slapped over the head of Burns, and it's picked up barehanded by Westberg. And he tries to throw out Baroa at first, but the speedster Baroa gets down there, and it's an infield single, excuse me. Easy for me to say, for Stuart Baroa.
Well, Stuart Baroa will take that hit every single time. He gets his 3rd major league base hit, beating out that little bouncer over Corbin Burns. Jordan Westberg couldn't quite come up with it and make the clean throw. Stuart Baroa really does have a lot of speed.
And now with 2 out in the top of the 7th inning here with 95 pitches thrown, the Orioles want to have a quick chat with Mr. Burns. Corbin Burns has pitched extremely well tonight. This would be the 4th time seeing George Springer. He has struck out Springer twice. George 0 for 3 with a fly out to second, and again those 2 strikeouts that I just mentioned.
I really don't know what this meeting could be about. There's 2 outs in the inning. There's a guy on first base. maybe just giving Yennier Cano a little bit of a chance to get ready out there in the Orioles bullpen. But there's really nothing you can say to Corbin Burns unless they're just giving him a breather. That's really the only thing that I could think of.
Springer's average sitting at .226 up to the moment. 13 home runs, 41 runs batted in. He's got one on the base paths right now with Baroa out at first. Here's the first pitch to George. It's low, a little bit outside as well. Missed with the curveball, 1-0. Burns looks in at the sign, nods his head at Rutschman, and he comes set. The 1-0 pitch inside. Rutschman tried to frame that one but didn't get the call. It's 2-0. And now Burns just turns and fires over to first base, trying to keep Stuart Baroa honest. Baroa, again, as Chris noted a couple of moments ago, and getting down that first base line, he's a threat to steal. He's got speed. Springer ahead 2-0 in the count. And Baroa, as I mentioned, with the speed, just took off and just took second. He slides in safely. The throw came in late. He would have been safe either way. And another stolen base for Stuart Baroa.
Stuart Baroa just stole his 5th career base. He has 3 base hits, 3 career base hits, no homers, 1 RBI, but 5 stolen bases.
I love it.
He's your guy.
SB. Now in scoring position for George Springer, as Springer is well ahead in the count, 3-0. And that one outside and down low from Burns. And now Springer is on with 2 away for Dalton Varsho. It's first and second, and Baltimore is going to make the change. So with that, we will go back to baseball control with Show Ali.
Thank you very much, Eric. And before we check out the out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill, a reminder that we do have Jays Talk tonight. Blair and Barker will have the post-game show, a post-trade deadline edition of Jays Talk. So be sure to tune in. Jeff will throw out the numbers for you to call after the final out. All right, let's check the out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. Let's check in on the Olympics. Lots to get to today, including a silver medal. The women's rugby team getting on the podium for the first time ever. The best result for Rugby Canada in history. New Zealand wins the gold, though they were heavy favorites. The best result prior to Paris for Canada was a bronze at the Rio Games in 2016, but still a silver medal for the women's rugby team, so congratulations to them. In basketball, the men's team remains undefeated. They thumped Australia 93-83. RJ Barrett with a game-high 24 points. He had 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Dylan Brooks, each adding 16 points. Canada as a team scoring 28 points off 18 Australian turnovers, 15 of those points coming in the third quarter alone. With wins from France and Germany today as well, Canada has actually already clinched a spot in the quarterfinals. And so we now look ahead to Thursday. They play Spain at 11:15 a.m. Eastern, 8:15 a.m. Pacific. If they win that game, they will win their group, which would effectively prevent the team from facing the United States until the medal rounds. Some results to get to on the grounds of Roland Garros. First, Felix Auger-Aliassime. He dominates Germany's Maximilian Marterer with a decisive 6-0, 6-1 victory in 64 minutes. In the third round, on the women's side, Leylah Fernandez eliminated 6-4, 6-3 in the third round by Germany's Angelique Kerber. The Olympics aren't yet over for Leylah Fernandez, though. She will team up with Gabby Dabrowski in a women's doubles second-round match later this week. For all Olympic updates, check out sportsnet.ca/Olympics. Blue Jays baseball is brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. Back to the action we go. Here's Eric Smith and Chris LaRue.
Cionel Perez coming in now for Baltimore, taking over for Corbin Burns, who was outstanding tonight. And he leaves the game with his Orioles leading the Blue Jays 6-1 here in the 7th inning. Cionel Perez, a 4.26 ERA in 35 games this season. He inherits 2 runners, first and second, 2 down, and the first pitch from Perez to Varsho. Dalton sends it A one bouncer off the base of the wall. Baroa coming around to score. It's 6-2. And then being held up at third is George Springer. So the Blue Jays cash in only one on the Varsho double, as it will bring Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to the plate with 2 runners in scoring position.
Well, that was just a hanging curveball, and Dalton Varsho hooks that thing down the right field line. That's a big base hit for him. But Corbin Burns still has a run at third base. One was cashed in by Cionel Perez, and 2 of those runs out there on second and third are still out there. One Corbin Burns and one Cionel Perez at second base.
And now a lefty on righty battle as Vladdy steps in and takes a first pitch strike on a sinker at 96, 0-1. Vladdy 1 for 1 with 2 walks. And the 0-1, they call a strike. It looked like it might have been outside. Vladdy shakes his head, does not like the call, as they gave Perez the strike there, and quickly it's 0-2 to Guerrero. 2 on, 2 out. The pitch way high. Rutschman had to stand up to grab that one. It's 1-2.
Well, I can tell you this much. This is not the matchup that the Baltimore Orioles wanted. Perez is a lefty. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hits lefties very well. They wanted Perez to get Dalton Varsho out. Obviously, they didn't do that.
And Vladdy hitting .321 this season with 2 outs with runners in scoring position. That pitch came in high. Vladdy partially offered at it. They checked down to first. And Adrian Johnson, the first base umpire, said no, it was clean, and I think he was right.
It's a good call. I thought initially that he did, but we just saw the side view slow motion replay, and he very clearly did not go.
2-2 pitch coming now to Guerrero. After the high heat, Perez comes back down Main Street, and it's off the handle for Vladdy. It's scooped up at second by Jordan Westberg, and they throw out Guerrero at first. And unfortunately, the Blue Jays waste a golden opportunity with second and third. They leave both stranded. They did get back one. It's 6-2 Baltimore going to the bottom of the 7th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know your vehicle rusts faster in warm weather? Protect your vehicle today. For a special summer offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Hey, Jays fans, ready to hit a home run with your next roofing project? Step up to the plate with GAF Timberline HDZ shingles, the official roofing shingle of the Toronto Blue Jays. Just like our Jays, GAF Timberline HDZ shingles deliver top performance with unmatched durability.
What's up, insiders? I just wanted to take a minute to say thank you to this amazing community. 32,398 insiders in the chat. Thank you guys for hanging out with us every single Toronto sports game. This is the place to be. If you're a Toronto sports fan and there's a game on, we're live right here, hanging out, having a good time together. So, with that being said, make sure you've hit the like button. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and share this out to everybody you know that is a Toronto sports fan, and let's have some fun during these games. We'll see you guys back in the chat. Go Jays, go. Go Leafs, go. Go Argos, go. Go TFC, go. Go Toronto, go.
Toronto on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back. Eric Smith and Chris LaRue with you, getting set to start the bottom half of the 7th inning. Toronto just scored 1 in the top half, but they still trail 6-2 in this ballgame.
And Jose Cuas is now in this ballgame, sporting an 8.22 ERA. In 12 games. Not all of those games, of course, have come with the Toronto Blue Jays, but we've seen him a couple times.
And the first pitch in for a ball missing outside to Colton Cowser, top of the order for Baltimore. To begin things here in the bottom half of the 7th. And the second pitch missing outside as well. Cuas down now 2-0 to Cowser.
Quas has thrown in 3 games for the Toronto Blue Jays, 2 innings, and he's given up 3 earned runs in those 2 innings.
And now 3-0. Missing outside on all 3 pitches. And the sidearm delivery from Quas in there for a strike on the sinker at 94. Dangling that right arm down as he stares in at the sign from Servin. Here's the 3-1 pitch. And in for a strike. Looked pretty good on that one on the fastball as Cowser swung through that. And it's now 3-2. Quas gets the sign. The payoff pitch right here, the 3-2. And it's fouled off by Cowser. We'll do it again at 3-2. Baltimore leading 6-2, third game of 4. The Orioles with the lead. And this one chopped out over the head of Quas, picked up by the shortstop Jimenez over to first to get the out, and there's one away.
Nice play from Leo Jimenez. He was positioned almost right behind second base. That ball was just bounced over Quas on the mound, and Leo Jimenez makes a nice play running in, making an underhand throw to Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s chest at first base. Good play out there.
It brings up Adley Rutschman, who's 1 for 3 in the ballgame. He singled back in the 3rd inning, scored a run as well. One of the 6 that the Orioles have played it. Again, they lead 6-2, bottom of the 7th. And the first pitch from Quas outside misses with that sinker and a 1-0 count. The out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by the St. Louis Bar and Grill. Seattle now leading Boston 7-3, bottom of the 5th. And Quas missing way outside on the second pitch. It's now 2-0. The Yankees trailing the Phillies 4-2, top of the 7th. So this could be a big game for Baltimore if they secure this victory, as they entered action tonight just a half game ahead of the Yankees in the American League East. Again, that's if things play out with the Phillies and Yankees as well. It's only the 7th inning. Quas now behind 3-0 to Rutschman as he just missed on another fastball. Came back with the sinker, and that one apparently high. It looked like it might have caught the upper part of the zone, but that's not the case according to Jonathan Parra. So 4 pitches, 4 balls, and a free pass for Adley Rutschman.
Well, you definitely don't want to walk Adley Rutschman because Gunnar Henderson is right behind him. John Schneider very clearly didn't agree with that call, barking at the home plate umpire Jonathan Parra, letting him know that he in fact was wrong, which I don't think he was.
First pitch in for a strike now to Gunnar Henderson. 1 for 2 in the ball game with a walk, a single, and 2 runs scored.
Did you see who else was traded to the Dodgers along with Kevin Kiermaier? Not
yes.
Along with, but also
part of. Yes, go ahead.
Not part of. It wasn't part of the same trade. It was just another trade.
You mean another trade?
A separate trade, but also to the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yes.
Ahmed Rosario. We just saw him, and we were singing his praises for the whole series.
Well, Gunnar Henderson just gave one a bit of a ride to left field, but backpedaling and making the grab with relative ease was a guy who we've been singing the praises of. Stuart Baroa makes the snag, and there's 2 away.
Well, one of us has definitely been singing his praises.
SB. 3-game bundles are here, folks. Customize your bundle and save on tickets on great games. Choose from a preset bundle of tickets to 3 games like Looney Dog Bundle, Superfan Bundle, or you can build your own 3-game bundle. Savings up to 20% on some of these games. Visit bluejays.com/bundles to get yours. First pitch to Anthony Santander, no good. Missing with the fastball at 93, a 1-0 count. The next pitch, low and outside. It's now 2-0. I feel like doing another promo because I know that you're big on this one. Where is it? Can't find it. Oh, here it is. 2-0 to Anthony Santander. I left it right in front of my face so I could do it, and I couldn't find it. First pitch will feel like puck drop On Wednesday, August 7th, the first 15,000 fans at the ballpark receive an exclusive George Springer replica hockey jersey presented by TD. BlueJays.com/promotions to get your tickets for that one. As Quas just issued a free pass to Santander, and it's now 2 on with 2 out here in the 7th.
He's been pretty erratic with that fastball so far. A lot of arm side run, a lot of arm side high fastballs. Hasn't really found the release point yet. But if you haven't seen those hockey jerseys yet, you are in for a treat. Not a lot of free giveaways at any sporting event are the quality of these hockey jerseys.
I will absolutely concur with that, and I'll give the Blue Jays this as an organization, and I promise you folks, this isn't like, waving the pom-poms for the Jays. I'm just giving credit to whoever is responsible for this in the promotions department or marketing or whoever it is. One of the things that bothers me is when you do these giveaways and you slap corporate logos all over stuff, or if it's just kind of done on the cheap or whatever. This hockey jersey is stitched. It's not like iron-on or whatever. This is a stitched hockey jersey with the stitched lettering and everything else. The baseball hats that we've seen this year, especially I'm thinking back to the 42 Jackie Robinson hat they handed earlier, stitched. Not done cheap.
The Caribbean night baseball caps were pretty cool too.
Yep. I believe that the short sleeve hoodie of the City Connect that they're going to be handing out.
That's also another good one.
Yeah, like I give the Blue Jays credit with that stuff. Unlike some of the stuff we see from other organizations across professional sports, these things have been legit. The 2-1 pitch now to O'Hearn, no good. It's now 3-1. That said, I'm sure a lot of people would trade all of that for more wins in playoff baseball. So don't get me wrong.
I would not. I don't think I would trade that Springer hockey jersey for more wins.
Really? Wow.
No, it's going to be. This. I guarantee this. So people will fight over this jersey.
The 3-1 pitch is fouled off. So now Quas will deal with the full count. And we're getting shots from our Sportsnet TV friends of John Schneider in a fairly animated conversation with Junior Valentine, the third base umpire. I'm not sure what prompted that.
It was a foul ball on the previous pitch. I'm pretty unsure as well.
And Valentine has a bit of a, dare I say, sarcastic / annoyed / smug look on his face. Doesn't want to deal with Schneider, as Quas just walked O'Hearn, so he has now walked the bases loaded. It was a ground out to short from Cowser, a walk to Rutschman, a fly out to left for Henderson, a walk to Santander, and now a walk to Ryan O'Hearn.
Yeah, he just can't find a release point. You can tell he's fighting something out there. Everything is up. Everything is arm side high. He is struggling immensely out there. And he just got help right there on that first pitch fastball.
And on that St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard, I told you that the Phillies were leading the Yankees 4-2 in the 7th. It's now 5-4 New York, as Jazz Chisholm just hit his second home run of the game to put the Yankees up. Third of the game?
No, his third as a Yankee.
Oh, excuse me. Don't give me hand signals. Just jump in next time. Second of the game, third as a Yankee, and the Yankees now lead 5-4. Toronto down 6-2 with the bases loaded, 2 out, bottom of the 7th.
I didn't want to step on your toes. That's rule number 1 in radio.
It's worse when you give me hand signals that I don't know. Step on my toes, please. One, 2, the count to Mountcastle. And that one high and inside. Mountcastle has to sort of contort out of the way, keep it away from his face, as Quas came high and inside.
I don't think that pitch was as close to Mountcastle as the crowd made it seem.
Yeah. The 2-2 pitch. And he chased that one high. Quas with a nice pitch right there on the fastball at 91. And he gets out of a big-time jam as the Orioles leave the bases loaded. On to the 8th we go. Toronto down 4. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The 2024 Training Camp Tour is here.
Focus on the football, fellas. Focus, focus.
And SiriusXM NFL Radio brings you down to the field for an all-access pass to your favorite team.
You do your best to put yourself in position to get the result you want.
Everything you need to get ready for the season, with updates on position battles and exclusive interviews from all 32 teams. Hear every stop of the 2024 Training Camp Tour on NFL Radio Channel 88 and the all-new SiriusXM app.
Are you regretting eating that gas station hot dog? Yeah, we know. We've been there too. This is a message for baseball fans like you. Did you know that you get a channel that's talking baseball 24/7 as part of your SiriusXM subscription?
What?
Our lineup includes shows hosted by former big leaguers and executives. Plus, you'll hear from 17 managers each week. MLB Network Radio is on SiriusXM Channel 89, or just search MLB Network Radio on the SXM app. SiriusXM Sports. We're more than just a game.
I'm John Paul Morosi, host of the SiriusXM original podcast, The Road to Cooperstown. Each week, I talk with a Baseball Hall of Famer about the challenges they overcame to become an all-time great.
It is a hard game, and mentally it's hard.
My legs started shaking.
They pretty much knew I was going to have lung surgery after the season. I wasn't for sure. Would I ever play baseball again?
The Road to Cooperstown is the official podcast of the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. Episodes are available now on the all-new SiriusXM app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Our goal is to win the Super Bowl. That's it for us.
Hear every stop of the 2024 Training Camp Tour on NFL Radio Channel 88 and the all-new SiriusXM app.
Radio Network.
On to the 8th inning we go with the Blue Jays trailing 6-2. And first pitch swinging, dribbling it down to first. But I believe that actually might have caught the toe of Spencer Horwitz. So it's actually going to be officially a foul ball. Baltimore jumped on that right away. They thought it was going to be a ground out for Horwitz, but jumping out and waving his hands in the air was Jonathan Parr, the home plate umpire, saying no, that was indeed a fouled ball as it hit Horwitz. And it's an 0-1 count. The 0-1 delivery outside. It's now 1-1. Cionel Perez still on the mound for the Orioles, with Baltimore leading 6-2 in the top of the 8th. And this one ultimately is chopped down to first. I think that might have actually hit the first base bag, picked up by Round Mountcastle, who keeps it himself, jogs on over, steps on the bag, and there's one away. This copyrighted broadcast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and the Sportsnet Radio Network. The Orioles are going to make a change here. They don't want to have the lefty on righty matchup again with Perez and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. So we're going to have a pitching change, and in the process, send it back to baseball control with Shoeli.
Thank you very much, Eric. Before we check out the out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill, a reminder that we do have Jays Talk this evening. Blair and Barker are standing by. They will have the post-game show, a post-trade deadline edition. We'll hear a little bit from Ross Atkins chatting to the media after the deadline today, so be sure to tune in and stick around for that. Jeff will throw out the numbers for you to call once this game is in the books. All right, let's check out the out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. I mentioned the Olympics on the soccer pitch. Canada getting a goal from Vanessa Gilles in the 102nd minute to stun France 2-1 on the weekend. So with a win against Colombia tomorrow, that'll go at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. They do have a chance to advance to the quarterfinals. Canada Soccer and the Canadian Olympic Committee have also filed an appeal with the Court of Arbitration of Sport. To get some of the point deduction removed. They are not appealing the suspension to the coaches, so we'll likely hear the result of that appeal before the game tomorrow if the appeal does not go Canada's way, or the results aren't in by kickoff, again, 3 Eastern, 12 Pacific tomorrow, then they absolutely need a win to advance to the quarters against Colombia. Let's check out some trades. You heard some being mentioned by Eric and Chris. Earlier today, the Dodgers acquiring Jack Flaherty from the Tigers. It was one of the biggest moves of the day, just minutes before the trade deadline. He is a 28-year-old right-hander, 77 .85 record, 2.95 ERA, and 133 strikeouts. The Padres, meanwhile, acquiring Tanner Scott and Brian Hoeing, both pitchers from the Marlins, in exchange for Robbie Snelling, Adam Mazur, Graham Pauley, and Jay Bashir. We'll continue checking out the out-of-town scoreboard and the trade deadline deals as we continue tonight. Blue Jays baseball is, of course, always brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. Back to the action at Camden Yards. Here's Eric Smith and Chris LaRue.
Yennier Cano steps into the ballgame now for Baltimore. He takes over on the mound. And I apologize. We are so used to Spencer Horwitz being in that 2 spot ahead of Vladdy. I completely dropped the ball heading into that pitching change. Spencer Horwitz in the 4 spot today, batting after Vladdy. It was Guerrero who was the last out of the 7th inning. And Horwitz just grounded out to start this 8th. So it's now Brian Serven at the plate for the first time in this game. He took over for Alejandro Kirk after Kirk was hit by a pitch right around that left elbow. And hopefully he's okay. But obviously the Blue Jays, understandably being cautious with Kirk, got him out of the ballgame as Serven took over. And now Brian Serven down in the count, 1-2 to Cano.
Yennier Cano has a big fastball. The Cuban, 6'4", 245-pound righty, 4-2 with a 2.88 ERA this season in 47 games. That fastball is normally around 97, 98 miles an hour.
The 1-2 pitch, and it looked pretty good on the bottom part of the zone, but take it and run if you're a Blue Jay fan, as Serven stares at that one, and it's called a ball. Now 2-2. Toronto down 6-2. Top of the 8th, and a swing and a miss. Serven strikes out. There's 2 away.
And he just struck out on a 92-mile-an-hour changeup. The changeup before that was 93 miles an hour. That is an incredibly hard changeup. More like a split finger than a changeup.
Ernie Clement steps in now, 0 for 2 in the ball game. Top of the 8th, 2 out, Jays down 4, and the first pitch from Cano to Clement is way outside, down low, and a 1-0 count. Zach Pop warming up now in the Blue Jay bullpen. We'll see if he comes into the ball game in the bottom of the 8th. The 4th and final game of this series at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon, and we will have all the action for you right here on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Clement, who had been swinging the bat very well, certainly coming out of that weekend series against Texas, on an 0 for night right now. He would love to get on here and maybe start a little 2-out rally in the 8th. The Blue Jays haven't really been able to get a whole lot cooking tonight. Only 5 hits and just 2 runs, and they have trailed this entire game. Baltimore scored first and hasn't looked back since. Clement now ahead, though, 3-0. Cano with the pitch, and Clement taking the entire way. A sinker at 96. In for a strike. It's 3-1. The 3-1 delivery. Same spot. Almost identical with the sinker at 96. Clement let it go, and it's now 3-2.
Clearly taking all the way. Both of those fastballs were very hittable.
And now Clement slaps at the 3-2. It's snagged by Cano, and he casually, literally walks. I'm talking like he was on a Sunday stroll for a couple of steps, and then just flips the ball over to first to Ryan Mountcastle, and there's 2 away. Oh, check that, 3 to end the inning. I think I was so concerned about the fact that he was on his Sunday stroll as he just kept on strolling right to the dugout. And that will do it for the Blue Jays. Wishful thinking on my part that it was only 2 out. Blue Jays go down 1-2-3, and on to the bottom of the 8th we go with Toronto down 6-2. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between pizza and inflation. First to the plate, Pizza Pizza's big hitter, Fixed Rate Pizza. An extra large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. I dare say, folks, inflation stands no chance against this all-star. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for Fixed Rate Pizza. Lock in yours today.
Order pizza.ca.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle.
Did you know your vehicle rusts faster in warm weather? Protect your vehicle today. For a special summer offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
I am by your side. Got a heart so big. On this you can rely. No mountains too tall for the strong boots to climb. I am by your side.
That was Desjardins Insurance, playing insurance with a heart so big it shows. Tune in for your auto and home coverage at desjardins.com/heart.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Fastball hit to center field. Varsho with a dive, and he makes the catch.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back to the bottom of the 8th inning, and the Blue Jays are trailing 6-2. Zach Pop into the ball game for the Jays, and the first pitch to Westberg is outside. It's a 1-0 count. Jordan Westberg 0 for 3 in the ball game. A ground out, a strikeout, and a flyout. And he chops one out to short. Scooped up by Jimenez over to first to record the out. There's one away.
Zach Pop with a good fastball. We've talked about his sink for the better part of a full season now, and that fastball there, no different. 96, had the good vertical sink to it. Jordan Westberg just hits a weak ground ball to shortstop for the first out.
That will bring up Cedric Mullins, the center fielder, with one away here in the 8th inning. Baltimore leading 6-2, and he slaps at the first pitch. Mullins does, sends it high down the left field line. It's foul into the stands. It's an 0-1 count. Mullins 1 for 3 in the ball game with a single back in the 4th inning. He ultimately scored. He's got a stolen base in this game too. Pop comes set, gets the sign from Servin. The 0-1 pitch inside. It's 1-1. Eric Smith and Chris LaRue in the Timber Mart broadcast booth. 10 after 9 Eastern time. Swing and a miss on the 1-1. It's now 1-2 on a nice looking cutter right there from Zach Pop. Pop gets the sign. Servin is set up a little bit high. That came inside. It's now 2-2. The crowd in Baltimore trying to start a little rally right here with 1 out, nobody on, and a 2-2 count to Mullins. And that one came inside. Servin tried to pull it down and frame it, but it no doubt was a ball right there. Jonathan Parr was having none of that, the home plate umpire.
They're trying to come up and in with that fastball, up and in at the hands of Cedric Mullins, not quite in that strike zone. Like you said, Brian Servin trying to frame it, but didn't do a great job.
And the 3-2 pitch is down low in the dirt, and Pop loses him. That sinker nowhere near the zone. So Baltimore gets a man on with 1 out here in the 8th. Ramon Urias stepping in now. The average up to 240 on the season. He's 2 for 3 in the ball game with a solo home run, a single, and 2 runs batted in. His 5th home run of the year came earlier in this ball game, and it's a big part of the 6-2 Baltimore lead. The Orioles were up 1-0, then increased the lead to 4-0. Toronto got back 1 to make it 4-1. And then Baltimore just continued to tack on a couple more, eventually going up 6-1. And Toronto now has put at least one more on the board to trail 6-2, but Baltimore again has been in control of this entire game. They have yet to trail, and barring a big-time comeback in the 9th inning for the Blue Jays, it looks like it could be a second win in this series for Baltimore. They're up 4 here in the bottom of the 8th with a man on, and a 1-1 pitch is kind of awkwardly backhanded by Servin. That seemed to sort of handcuff him a little bit. It got away from him on a ball that probably should have been caught. And as it squirts away, it's an easy opportunity for Mullins to scamper on up to second.
Well, that actually looked like a little bit of a cross-up. Brian Servin staring out at Zach Pop on the mound. There was nobody on second base, so you would think that there's no chance of a cross-up. Maybe just an extreme backup cutter from Zach Pop.
And now this one is chopped out to short on a couple of bounces. Leo Jimenez makes the play at short, but then throws to first on at least a triple, if not a quadruple bouncer. Like, not a great throw by any stretch of the imagination from Jimenez. Vladdy stretched, and Urias is safe at first.
So I just saw the slow motion replay. I believe at the end it wasn't even bouncing, it was just rolling. So I don't know how you would classify that, but that was at least a 5 roller or a 5 hopper.
Tough break there for Zach Pop and the Blue Jays, as there's now 2 on with 1 out here in the 8th inning, and it's to the top of the order we go with Colton Cowser. It'll be his 5th at-bat of the ball game.
That's actually a tough single for Zach Pop. I think that should have been an error on Leo Jimenez. What do you think?
Yes. I mean, when you catch it cleanly and then you throw like that, that's clearly a mistake. That's an error.
Yeah.
The 1-0 pitch is fouled off by Cowser down the left field side. It's now 1-1. Baltimore threatening to put at least one, maybe more, on the board here late in this ball game. In the bottom of the 8th with 1 out, they lead 6-2, but they've got 2 on with just the 1 out. Cowser stares at an inside pitch. Pop just missing on that cutter at 93. It's now 2-1. And the next pitch right down Main Street. The sinker is in for a strike. It's now 2-2. The 2-2 pitch is sent sky high into shallow left field. In to make the grab with that blue leather glove is Stuart Baroa to record the out, and there's 2 down. This will bring up Adley Rutschman, 1 for 3 in the ball game. As Zach Pop tries to get out of this 8th inning unscathed. He's got 2 on with now 2 out, first and second for Baltimore, in a game that has become increasingly important for them. Again, I mentioned they entered action tonight with just a half-game lead over the Yankees for first place in the American League East, and New York was down in their game against the Phillies, but now the Yankees leading 5-4 in the top of the 8th as we look at that out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by the St. Louis Bar and Grill. Boston will lose ground, I think. They're down 7 in the 7th. 10-3 Seattle with the lead. Rutschman down in the count, 0-1 to Pop, and he just ripped one straight at Spencer Horwitz. The line drive out right into the glove of Horwitz, and that will do it for the Orioles. On to the 9th inning we go. Put on your rally caps if you're a Blue Jay fan. Toronto down 6-2. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Find your groove with summer dance sounds in the SiriusXM app. The party never stops on new channel Sounds of Ibiza. Summer house throwbacks play on Utopia. Or lounge to poolside vibes from Chill. Find it all on the SiriusXM app. Tap in, turn up, and keep moving. Search summer.
Every night after the final out, the Round Trip Roundup brings you the scores, highlights, and analysis from every game across Major League Baseball, all in less than 30 minutes.
Swung on and missed strike 3 and a no-hitter.
It's the perfect way to get caught up on all the night's biggest home runs and best performances.
And a high drive, deep right center.
It's the Round Trip Roundup on MLB Network Radio every night on SiriusXM Channel 89 and every morning on the SiriusXM app.
Nothing matches the passion, the excitement, the history-making moments of college sports. My goodness! And nobody takes you inside the greatest campuses and stadiums across the country like SiriusXM College Sports Radio. Listen to all of the play-by-play action, expert analysis, and in-depth interviews with your favorite team. No matter the season, we have something for you. Your home for all things college sports is on SiriusXM College Sports Radio, Channel 84.
Fantasy football players, learn winning strategies right now on Fantasy Sports Radio to help you draft a winning team on Channel 87 and on the SiriusXM app.
Radio Network.
Welcome back. Eric Smith and Chris LaRue with you. Getting set to start the ninth inning. Another pitching change for Baltimore here to start the ninth inning as the Baltimore Orioles look to close out this game with a 6-2 lead.
And the Orioles are going to Sir Anthony Dominguez, the former Philly, on the season in 40 games. He's 3-2 with a 4.50 ERA, 42 Ks, just 12 walks. He's got a big fastball.
And he comes in with that fastball on the first pitch to Addison Barger, clocked at 98. And it's a strike, caught the bottom part of the zone. 0-1 count. Barger 1 for 3 in the ball game, the average up to 181. Second pitch, no good. It's now even at 1-1, missing with the slider. And then Barger just got underneath it, puts it out into shallow right field, and calling for it is Jordan Westberg to make the grab. Gunnar Henderson had come over and was right beside him, and now Westberg and Henderson have a laugh about that one, but the Orioles record the out. There's one away here in the ninth.
The Baltimore Orioles actually traded Austin Hayes to the Phillies for Sir Anthony Dominguez and Christian Pache. That was on July 26th. We had a couple days in those new uniform.
Leo Jimenez steps in. 0 for 3 on the evening. First pitch, no good. Second one is in for a strike. Jimenez looking at both. The slider. Both times. And now a 1-1 pitch. And that one caught the inside edge as Dominguez came back with another slider. This one clocked at 87. And now a 1-2 count. And the 1-2 pitch is chased by Jimenez. He strikes out, and there's 2 away.
Well, I mentioned that big fastball that Sir Anthony Dominguez has, 98, 99, sometimes 100 miles an hour, but he even has that big slider right there at 88 that he struck out Leo Jimenez on. He's a good addition for this Baltimore Orioles bullpen, that's for sure.
Interesting to note here, I don't know if we'll have time to really get into it with 2 down here in the ninth. And I'm going to keep my mouth shut until I see what Baroa does as he rips one foul down the right field line. Our colleague Arden Zwelling from Sportsnet, I guess according to the sources that he has, just sent out a tweet or an X post. The Blue Jays sought to add a major league caliber catcher in deadline discussions and had opportunities to do so. Ultimately, though, they preferred the returns that they went with. The club still plans to upgrade at that position in the winter. And why do I bring that up? Alejandro Kirk hit by a pitch tonight and was taken out of the ball game after getting hit on the left elbow. Brian Servin came into the game. We don't have any idea if there's any issue with Kirk or if this was just being precautious. But obviously not a great deal of depth right now at that catching position, especially if Kirk were to miss some time. So hence the reason I bring up that info passed along from Arden Zwelling. Stuart Baroa down in the count now 1-2. He's fouled off a couple of pitches as he's seen a steady diet of fastballs here from Dominguez, and he just got him with another one to end the ball game. Caught looking on a fastball that caught the upper part of that outside edge. Clocked at 98, and that will do it as the Orioles win 6-2 in a game that they pretty much controlled from the outset.
Yeah, Chris Bassitt just looked off from the get-go. He went 4 innings, giving up 9 hits, 5 earned runs. But the most obvious thing that I noticed, he only walked 1, but he was very erratic all over the strike zone through a ton of pitches. And then when he did come back in the strike zone, it was a very hittable pitch, and the Baltimore Orioles did some damage against him.
So Toronto loses 6-2 to the Orioles. They give up 11 hits to Baltimore. Toronto mustering only 5 hits of their own. And we will step aside for the break, come back, get set to wrap things up, and hand it off to post-game coverage. Again, 6-2 Baltimore with the victory. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
So, you want to be a Looney Dogger, eh? Every Tuesday Blue Jays home game is Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. Grab $1 hot dogs from various concession stands around Rogers Center. Plus, stop by the Schneider's Porch, your hot dog headquarters. The destination for a one-of-a-kind hot dog experience with excellent ballpark views. So, whether you're the relish ringleader or 7th-inning snacker, no Blue Jays game is complete without hot dogs. Don't miss out on this delicious deal. Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
We're 2 men and a truck. So, you're moving to a new home, and all that's left to do is to call a mover you know you can trust. Well, naturally, you think 2 men and a truck, since you know they have lots of men and lots of trucks. They'll wrap, pack, and move everything you own. With a 96% referral rating and the professionalism you can trust, the choice is simple. For a free in-home estimate, call today. We're 2 men and a truck.
2 men and a truck. The movers who care.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know your vehicle rusts faster in warm weather? Protect your vehicle today. For a special summer offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between pizza and inflation. First to the plate, with over 2 million sold, it's Fixed Rate Pizza, a hot and fresh extra-large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for Fixed Rate Pizza. Lock in yours today.
Order pizza.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
They got him. A strike him out, throw him out, double play.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back. Eric Smith and Chris LaRue with you. The Baltimore Orioles beating the Toronto Blue Jays 6-2 in Game 3 of this 4-game series, and now it's on for the Blue Jays tomorrow, the pressure to try and at least get a split here, Chris, before they open up that 3-game series on the weekend at New York against the Yankees.
Well, we knew this was a tough road trip coming up against the leaders of the American League East, the Baltimore Orioles, 4 against them, and then you go to the Bronx and you have to face the New York Yankees. But tomorrow's going to be a hot one. It's going to be probably muggy. So it'll be a tough one. Baseball in 35-degree muggy weather is always difficult.
And again, it's the 12:30 technically 12:35. First pitch in Baltimore for this third game, or check that, fourth game of the series, as the third game was just won by the Orioles 6-2. The Blue Jays did a solid job coming back in Game 2 of the doubleheader yesterday to get the split, but they just didn't seem to have much going, especially on the offensive end, but also the tough start tonight for Chris Bassitt, who takes the loss. And again, the Blue Jays losing 6-2. Maybe of bigger note, is the day at the trade deadline, as the Blue Jays continued to be very active with 3 trades going down today. And over the course of the last 3 or 4 days, 8 players have moved on in various trades for the Toronto Blue Jays, with a bunch of different prospects and a couple of major leaguers coming back in return. And no doubt that is something that will be of discussion, I'm sure a big talking point, with Jeff Blair and Kevin Barker in mere moments when Jays Talk begins. Thanks to Sho Ali, our host and producer, and technical director Tom Young. For Chris LaRue, I'm Eric Smith. You've been listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network, as Jays Talk starts now.
All right, well, Kevin Barker, this 6-2 loss to the Baltimore Orioles. Really, the game for the Toronto Blue Jays was going to be secondary all along, given the fact that the trade deadline, the Major League Baseball trade deadline, expired at 6 o'clock today, roughly half an hour before the Jays took the field. And I presume that'll be the topic for a lot of the conversation tonight in Blue Jays Talk. The number's 416-870-0590, star 590, 1-888-666-0590. We've got some comments from Ross Atkins, who did his media availability during the game. We're going to play that in a few minutes. We're also going to get Chris Bassitt's comments because, Kevin, I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm going to throw this out right now. We know that after his last start, Chris Bassitt was asked what his goals were for the rest of this season, and he said his goal was to pitch in the postseason. Now, he's clearly not going to do that with the Toronto Blue Jays unless the miracle of miracles happens. So I'm just wondering here. He got 5 whiffs and 90 pitches tonight. Was not very good. And the fastball velocity was fine, but he wasn't fooling anybody tonight. Deadline hangover, perhaps, for Chris Bassitt?
No. I think he's been around too long. I mean, he's pushing 36. The 5 starts in July after the start tonight. I mean, his ERA's pushing 6.5. Like, this is a pretty big sample size of you just consistently not having the feel of all the other secondary pitches that he wants to throw. You mentioned the velocity, the sinker, the cutter tonight was decent. I mean, when he wanted to throw it up, he threw it up. It was just when he got to 2 strikes, now what? Like, it's just when you don't have good feel of the curve, the slider, the sweeper, the changeup. I mean, the changeup's a decent pitch against lefties because it sort of, allows him to add and subtract with the 2 fastballs that he wants to throw. And he don't have the changeup because that thing's been getting hammered, and for whatever reason, the finish and the extension on that thing's just not been there. So that's what it is, right? It's a lot of pitches. It's trying to work through it with basically 2 pitches, right? Whenever he's really, really fine-tuned with location and velocity with the sinker and the cutter, that sort of allows him to be a little bit more unpredictable with the other 6 pitches that he wants to throw. But when it ain't, and then he don't have good feel of the secondary stuff that he wants to add, subtract with, Jeff, it looks like July.
Want to talk a little bit about Leo Jimenez's game and Addison Barger's game. Look, we are going to see. I mean, it's going to be nonstop kids for the next for the rest of the regular season. Ross Atkins and his availability today. While we do know that Joey Loperfido is expected to start tomorrow, Hazel May reporting that. John Schneider saying that. And one of the things Ross Atkins said today is that with the exception of Jake Bloss, who is just going down to Florida because the organization wants to give him a little bit of a blow right now, see what exactly they have. He has, as Jeff Blum told us today, he really has been rushed through things. And I think if you're the Blue Jays at this point, there's no sense in rushing him to the majors. But I expect he'll be up here at some point this year. But Ross Atkins made pretty clear that any of the players who are at AAA were going to be up here at some point this year. I presume that would be Will Wagner. I presume that would be Jonathan Clase as well. So I want to play some clips from Ross Atkins' availability because it did happen in game. It was not carried live. And this was Ross Atkins talking about something I know near and dear to your heart, Kevin, just what this team needs to do to get better offensively, and how do these acquisitions, all of whom, quite frankly, with the exception of Loperfido, are minor leaguers, how do these acquisitions fit into that?
The things that I've alluded to about finding better complementary pieces that will help us with our roster construction. I think the opportunities, the underlying issues that we can see are clear areas that we can work on are, one, that building a better 26-man roster and the depth around it that complements, the individuals are complementing others in a better way, and especially as it relates to the run scoring. We have to find a way to create a better run scoring environment, and we feel that the handedness, the power opportunities, the dynamic and versatile athletes that we have added will help us towards that as something that has been an underlying issue. That's probably the largest one. On a smaller scale, there's always going to be opportunities for adjustments and deployment that we'll have to continue to dig into and make sure we're improving.
Ross Atkins also said, just to make it clear, that that this was all about contending in 2025 and 2026. He was asked if he considered this trade deadline to be a first step towards that.
On the surface, it looks like you guys need probably at least one, if not two starters, several bullpen arms to get back guys who you've lost. And this isn't the lineup has some interesting bats, but sort of very few established players who could support and augment Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Of that nature. How do you view what pathway do you see to overcoming those very significant holes that could lead to a similar outcome next year?
Yeah, this was the first step towards that. And, there's several ways to make acquisitions, which we will continue to have to do. We're going to have to add in free agency and via trade. And we've just increased the likelihood of doing that by creating more depth and increased flexibility. The versatility, the dynamic athleticism that we've acquired to complement the pieces that are here was a big part of our goal. And we feel that we've accomplished that.
And just to clarify this, Ross Atkins could not have been clearer as in terms of trading Vladdy or Bo, quote, not close, never our intention to trade either one. Ross made it pretty clear, I thought, that it was just not something that they seriously entertained. And I think, as I mentioned, and this is important because Alejandro Kirk left the game with a contusion on his left elbow today. Ross Atkins also said that they were absolutely in on a couple of major league catchers. Quote, they were in play, but it is something that they will certainly address in the offseason. So, Ross Atkins, I think, without putting words in his mouth, certainly not expecting Alejandro Kirk to catch 120 games next year. I think that's probably the best way to put it. So, Kevin, you heard some comments from Ross. We'll go to the phone lines in a minute. Your initial reaction to what Ross Atkins said. It does appear to be a realization that they pooched the offseason when it came to offense, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you could argue that's been 2 off seasons in a row. I mean, the first thing that I thought was better late than never. Like, thinking you can come in the American League East, even with the balanced schedule, and think you're going to try and make the playoffs, punch and Judy and things with a lineup that can't hit a fastball, you're kidding yourself. Run preventing in this division is almost impossible to do back-to-back years. That's why me and you've been yelling and screaming forever to go out and get somebody like an Anthony Santander who can thump things. That would just take pressure off the core. We know who the 2 names are of the core. So Yeah, that's what I think. Better late than never. Hopefully they go out and start doing exactly what he's saying to do. Until they actually bring in some dudes that you don't have to teach how to hit a fastball, how do you take the Jays lineup serious? Hopefully they do that in the offseason.
Shlomo and Scarborough, you're on Blue Jays Talk.
Evening, fellas. Very interesting day.
Yeah, it has been.
Yeah, I mean, probably going to be our most exciting day of the season so far.
Probably will be.
Yeah, last 24 hours has been crazy. I think it was pretty interesting and glaring that listening to a lot of you guys did great programming today on Sportsnet, but listening to the guests and talk about the farm system before the deadline, we're bottom 5 in the league was the consensus from a few of the guests on the station today. Post, it looks like we've jumped up to like 22nd, between 22nd and 19, I think I heard somebody say. But the most important thing is we look at the division. We've got Tampa and Baltimore 1 and 2 on Fangraphs. I think Boston is 6 and the Yankees are 12. So we invested more than any other team in development in Florida with the new complex, et cetera, and it hasn't been paying dividends. When you look at the farm system over the last 5 years and what's come up, not a lot of homegrown talent, no all-stars since Vladdy and Bo, and that are homegrown.
Well, Manoah.
Manoah had the taste. I wasn't thinking about him.
And Kirk.
But
Kirk was an all-star.
Yeah, but Kirk and Espinal are those are like flashes in the pan all-stars. They're not perennial all-stars. We're not thinking of them as superstars. However, I think it's very interesting is we got all these outfielders that are looking like they're about to get that need a path to the majors. What do you think that says? Do you think that says anything about their belief in the guys that they have, the Schneiders and the Bargers? And obviously, I don't take Burrow that serious, or the other kid that they called up right now. I don't think they would be up here if it wasn't for the need. But with all these acquisitions, they can't move off of Varsho because that trade was expensive and he's elite offensively. Springer will be impossible to move. So does that mean the odd man out will be Schneider and Barger, or there's probably going to be another trade here because there won't be enough room for everybody? What do you guys think happens next? And do you think Ross Atkins' job is safe come the off season?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think today we talked to Shai about this, and I think before we know whether or not Ross Atkins' job is safe, we need to know what happens with Mark Shapiro because he's only under contract for another year. Look, Kevin, this is a good segue into that play that we saw Barger involved in today. We also saw Leo Jimenez on that stolen base, the glove and ball. Well, the glove came off his hand with the ball, and Barger had that ball that bounced off the top of the wall. I mean, we're going to have to put up with this for the rest of the year. We're going to have to put up with these young guys learning on the fly and making mistakes. And I think to Shlomo's point, look, Joey Loperfido's a guy they traded for. He's their, if you want to call it, their big acquisition, part of their big trade in air quotes. And he's a lefty hitter.
Yep.
And he can play the corner outfield. So, TikTok, I would strongly suggest that Davis Schneider and Addison Barger are, I wouldn't say they're under the gun right now, but I think those are the guys that are squarely in the sights because, let's face it, George Springer's going nowhere and Dalton Varshow's your everyday center fielder.
Yeah, I think the Davis Schneider thing for me, look, he's pretty easy to pitch to. He's one of them guys that has to be sort of like that annihilator of left-handed pitching. And the last time I checked, he's hitting somewhere around 220 against lefties. Like, it's just not good enough. He's not slugging high enough against lefties. So, yeah, look, this is a tryout for all these guys. The Barger thing with the play in the outfield, look, that's a tough play, right? It's that's a ball over the fence. Does George Springer make that play? Probably, but George Springer's an elite outfielder. I don't think that's what we're asking Barger to be. I think we want him, because he's left-handed, to have a strength. What is the strength? Is it, right? I mean, a lot of dudes have trouble with spin. Is it that he can hit high octane velocity? We haven't seen that. Is it that he can drive in runs? We haven't seen that. Is it that he can hit a bunch of home runs and he has power the other way? We haven't seen that. Like, this is the fact of this is a tryout for a bunch of these guys. And I think Ross sort of alluded to that when he was speaking, that, there's certain guys that are going to have opportunities, and then there's everybody else. And if we're trying to contend, everybody else ain't going to be a part of this team. So yeah, this is sort of what you want. I mean, everybody's yelling and screaming about this with, the older guys that they wanted to trade. We all know the names of those guys, and everybody wants to see what these dudes have. It's an open tryout. John Snyder's going to run these dudes out there just about every single day, and we're going to find out if they can play at the big league level or not.
Yeah, and again, just to refresh everybody's mind, the Jays did trade IKF, Kevin Kiermaier, Trevor Richards. All three of them went today. Justin Turner, Yusei Kikuchi, Danny Jansen, Nate Pearson, and Jimmy Garcia. Of those, the expiring contracts were Kiermaier, Richards, Turner, Kikuchi, Jansen, and Garcia. In return, the Jays added minor leaguers. And I'll just say this, using MLB Pipeline's revised ratings, the players the Jays added have been rated 3rd, 8th, 14th, 21st, 22nd, 27th, 29th, and 30th. So of the Jays minor leaguers, that's basically a third of their top 30, according to MLB Pipeline, was acquired at the trade deadline. And that is, I think, a pretty accurate reflection of just how bad the minor league system was, or how bad the minor league system is for this particular organization. And again, that's, someone, I think you asked me today on Blair and Barker to give the trade deadline a grade. I mean, I don't believe you can, because I don't know what any of these guys are going to turn into. But I said I give them a B because, that they got rid of the guys that I thought they'd get rid of, and they got enough minor league depth. And I think Ross Atkins talked about this. It's not just all of these guys aren't going to make it to the majors. I'd be willing to bet that 3, 4, 5 of them end up being involved in trades at some point over the next 2 years to get another commodity. Absolutely. And that's, again, as I reminded people, this is a front office that did go out and trade for Teoscar Hernandez. And I know you're going to say they traded him and Gurriel and Moreno, and yes, they did. But the fact of the matter is they went out to get Teoscar Hernandez, and who knows, maybe Jonathan Clase turns into some sort of version of Teoscar Hernandez. Ross Atkins did say that, and this is a quote, we feel that he has a chance to be an elite defender. He's probably got the most upside of any acquisition we acquired. That is Jonathan Clase, the outfielder they got from the Seattle Mariners in the Jimmy Garcia deal. Jim in Hamilton, you're on Blue Jays Talk.
Gentlemen, good day. I think the trades today were to be expected. The only thing that was shocking was they didn't trade Joey Votto. And I also think...
Is he still with the team? Has he played at Buffalo yet?
He's limping around somewhere, buddy.
Good Lord.
I think Shapiro's hand was all over this. I don't think Mark had anything to do outside to make the phone calls. That being said, do you think the only way to keep Bassitt with the team and happy is to have Atkins gone? Question number one. And a homework assignment for Mr. Barker.
Oh, he loves those.
Oh, yeah. Now that we know what the Jays have after the trade deadline, I know you mentioned Santana or somebody.
Santander. Anthony Santander.
Which free agents that are available this season would you and or the Blue Jays need and pick and sign in the offseason, knowing that the checkbook is pretty good? I look forward to your answers, gentlemen. Have a good day.
Right. Yeah, thanks. Listen, it's funny. Shai Davidi and I went back and forth in this. I'd been told that Mark Shapiro did have a much bigger role in this trade deadline than in previous trade deadlines. I know that for a fact that he has had a much bigger role in the day-to-day baseball operations of this team than he's had in the past recent years, and that's probably largely due to the fact that the stadium's done. Look, Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro haven't been able to get Vladdy Jr.'s name on a long-term contract. They did get Bo Bichette's name on a 3-year contract that covers off his arbitration years. I thought that should serve as a jumping off point for a long-term contract. That's usually what happens. That has not happened. So I think the caller is absolutely right, Kevin. Jim is right in raising this question. I don't think the question is, would ownership pony up money for Vladdy Jr.? I don't know if Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro or Mark Shapiro are the guys to make the sales pitch to him, because it hasn't worked so far. And, further to that point, we also have to keep in mind Mark's only under contract for 1 more year.
Yeah, I don't know. I would think if they wanted to sign Vladdy, they'd done it already. No?
I mean, everything we're led to believe is that there's been very, very, and I mean, you've talked to the agents. There's very little traction in a long-term contract for Vladdy.
Yeah, I mean,
at this point, if I'm Vladdy, unless you're giving me $300 million at this point, I'm probably gonna test the market. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah, there'll be other callers, especially what we're seeing from Vladdy now. And again, if you surround him with a couple of pieces, I've said this, and Caleb come on our show today and said exactly what I've been saying, that, sometimes Vladdy, I don't think wants to be that aircraft carrier. He wants to be just the guy that goes up and lets the talent ooze out the pores and just sort of wants to be himself because of what's around him. It's no coincidence that the best year he's ever had is with what he had around him. And obviously a little bit of that has to do with the minor league parks, but a lot more of that has to do with what's around him. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the contract. I have no idea what the front office is thinking. None whatsoever. I would just think the conversations that I've had are people that are close to Vladdy, and what has not been done. I just don't know how you can get excited about all of a sudden what you've seen from Vladdy now in the next 2.5 months. They're going to sign him to this big giant deal. Maybe. I mean, the one thing I will say is I think there's more pressure on them to do it now than there ever has been. Because let's face it, other than Bo and Vladdy, this is not the sexiest team in baseball. Like this doesn't scream, come on out and watch us play for the most part. So I think this is the first time. This is the first time that I think they need to sign Vladdy to keep the fans happy. Up to this point, it hasn't mattered. But when you get to within a year of free agency, now people start to pay attention. Up to this point in time, the only people who've been worried about Vladdy signing have been those of us in the media. Most of the fans, they don't give a rat's ass. All they know is Vladdy's going to be in the lineup today. We're at the point now where there is pressure to sign this guy. Yeah, and let me ask you a question. Do you care if Bo's happy? Like, are they? I do. You think they're going to go out of their way? I don't think to make sure that Bo is happy coming off the year that he's coming off of.
I'll change this. I don't think it matters anymore. Would I like him to be happy? Yeah. Do I think it matters to them? Not at all. I don't think it matters to the Blue Jays at all.
1,000%, I'm with you.
I don't think it matters to them at all. 6-2, the Blue Jays have lost to the Baltimore Orioles. Game 4 of this series goes tomorrow afternoon, a 12:35 first pitch. Let's step away and come back and go to the phone lines. 416-870-0590, star 590, 1-888-666-0590. It's Blue Jays Talk on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Timber Mart is Canada's building center, a solid neighbor to call upon when you've got a job to do. Your dependable home improvement store that offers the added value of Air Miles reward miles with every purchase of $15 or more. Visit timbermart.ca.
We're 2 men and a truck. So, you're moving to a new home, and all that's left to do is to call a mover you know you can trust. Well, naturally, you think 2 men and a truck, since you know they have lots of men and lots of trucks. They'll wrap, pack, and move everything you own. With a 96% referral rating and the professionalism you can trust, the choice is simple. For a free in-home estimate, call today. We're 2 men and a truck.
2 men and a truck, the movers who care.
This August, the world's top players are back on Canadian soil.
Oh, you are kidding me.
See the stars come out at Canada's ultimate tennis showcase. The National Bank Open, presented by Rogers on Sportsnet.
Felix Auger-Aliassime and Leila Fernandez.
Can our nation's best outshine the top seeds in tennis?
Bianca Andreescu.
The National Bank Open, August 6th to 12th on Sportsnet.
Just amazing tennis.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle.
Did you know your vehicle rusts faster in warm weather? Protect your vehicle today. For a special summer offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
George Springer takes his love for hockey seriously. It's even starting to show in his post-game press conferences.
All right, first.
Hey, George, big catch by Dalton there in the 8th.
You know, Varshy's a grinder.
Really felt like a team effort tonight.
26 guys. Takes all 26 guys. Yeah, bud. This one was a barn burner. Just tried to get the barrel on it, eh? Yeah, that was a beauty, eh? Those guys were chirping. They wanted to drop the mitts. Next.
Get down to Rogers Center on August 7th and get your George Springer replica hockey jersey presented by TD. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between Pizza and inflation. First to the plate, Pizza's big hitter, fixed rate pizza. An extra large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. I dare say, folks, inflation stands no chance against this all-star. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for fixed rate pizza. Lock in yours today.
Order pizza.ca.
Timber Mart always has plans to help you with your plans. Your home, your cottage, your garage, whatever needs your attention first, check the most visited spot on our website for ready-to-order plans to get the job done with Canada's Building Centre. Visit timbermart.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Got him to chase the back foot slider. That's a strikeout for Pop.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
416-870-0590, star 591, 888-866-0590. It is Blue Jays Talk. Jeff Blair and Kevin Barker, the J62 losers to the Baltimore Orioles tonight. Home runs from Anthony Santander, Ramon Urias, and Ryan Mountcastle only managed 2-run single. Quiet night for noted Jays killer, Ryan Mountcastle. By the way, the Baltimore Orioles, according to various reports, are bringing up Jackson Holliday from the minors, and he will be available tomorrow. And Hazel May reporting that John Schneider, the manager of the Toronto Blue Jays, telling her that Joey Loperfido will be in the lineup tomorrow for the Blue Jays in the final game of this series. And I haven't seen a starter for tomorrow yet, but we'll wait and see. I thought it was I thought Paolo Espino. It is Espino?
That's what I heard.
Yeah. That was those were the rumblings out of Baltimore, but we'll wait and see. Eddie in Fort Erie, what's up, Eddie?
Hey, Jeff and Kevin, how you doing?
We're doing well, man.
Well, I was keeping an eye on the trade deadline all throughout the day, and I'm disappointed, but it is what it is with the Blue Jays, making all these moves. But I got to tell you, though, out of all the deals that I saw them make, my favorite had to be the Kikuchi deal. I mean, I was watching MLB Network throughout the day, and every show that they did, they were talking about how great they did in the and how they got the pieces back in the Kikuchi deal. I mean, it was a great trade, and everyone was a little bit worried about Kikuchi pitching in Houston, right, with that ERA and how he hasn't pitched well in that park. So it's a very interesting deal, and I was sad to see IKF go. I really liked watching him when he was with the Blue Jays. But you know what? When guys like Clement, Horowitz, and Jimenez were playing pretty good, you become expendable. So that's how I looked at it when the deal was done. And I got some winners and losers, guys, from the trading deadline.
Fire away.
All right, my winners, undisputably, the San Diego Padres. I mean, if you have Tanner Scott out there and everybody was going, for him, it was about 4 or 5 teams that were interested in him. I said to myself, whoever gets Tanner Scott is going to win the deadline. And the Padres won the deadline by acquiring him. And look at that back end of the bullpen, guys. You got Scott, you got Adam and Suarez. That's pretty damn good, for a team that nobody even thought was going to contend. I mean, they did extremely well on the Juan Soto deal. I mean, when I saw that Michael King was coming back in the deal, I said to myself, he's the wild card of that rotation by far, and he's done just that. Now, for my losers, I know it's going to sound crazy, but I'm gonna say the Pirates were a loser, but only on a 50% side of it, Jeff and Kevin, because I love the moves that they made getting De La Cruz and IKF. However, I thought they should have jumped in to the Jack Flaherty sweepstakes to see if they would acquire him, because you don't know how long of the innings limits they were going to watch on both Paul Skeens and Jared Jones. Like, if they had Flaherty, they would have said, okay, we can put Flaherty in and maybe skip a day for either Skeens or Jones because of those circumstances. So that's how I kind of looked at the Pirates at the deadline. I mean, that's how I feel. I don't know how you guys think. Thanks.
Appreciate the call, Eddie. Yeah, listen, I mean, I really like what the Padres did. I also, quite frankly, really like what the Orioles did. I think Eloy Jimenez is just like found money for them, to be honest. I mean, they've got a great offense without him, right? And he's just another option. I like what they did with their bullpen. To me, the loser, I mean, I don't know. I thought the Dodgers had Jack Flaherty is a different pitcher than he was last year. Unfortunately, my memories of Jack Flaherty are the guy that really was of very little use to the Baltimore.
I thought they were trying to win the World Series.
It doesn't sound to me. No, it doesn't sound to me that Kevin Kiermaier. Then that doesn't move the needle for me. I like what the Padres did. I'm terrified of what the Rays did, just because they're the Rays.
Yeah,
to be
that's
quite
underground
honest.
cities working overtime.
And low key, I'm going to tell you, I like what the Cleveland Guardians did. I like Lane Thomas. The Guardians, I don't think they had to do anything major because they're going to win the way they're going to win. I was a little surprised at the Twinkies. They were awfully quiet, but that may be them telling you what they think they need to do to, might tell you what their reading of their chances are.
Yeah, now a lot of them teams in the American League got to be realistic, right? You got to ask yourself, you better the Orioles, better the Yankees, you better the Guardians.
Yep.
If you're not, then you may not go out and make as many moves as you would have if you thought you were better than one of those three teams.
Doug and Barry, you're on Blue Jays Talk. Sorry, Guy and Maple, you're on Blue Jays Talk. Go ahead, Guy.
Hey guys, I think this was step one in the process of fixing this mess that Atkins created. I like what he did. I'm glad to see Kiermaier's got an opportunity in LA. I thought that was first class. That was awesome. You got a good arm in Yarborough. He always seems to pitch well against us. What I want to call about, first of all, I just want to say I think Barker had said it earlier. I love Cleveland to win the whole thing. I liked them before the trade deadline, and now I like it even more. That's my pick to win it. And I kind of like San Diego and maybe Milwaukee. I don't think Milwaukee did enough, but I really like Cleveland, San Diego, and Cleveland take it home. So I'll put that out there. But calling about Guerrero, I think this is the next thing they got to take care of, because at the end of the year, cosmetically, he's going to have better numbers than Soto at the way he's projecting right now. I mean, he's ahead of him in batting average. He's ahead of him in total hits. He's catching up in homers, and he's just behind in RBIs. And if Soto's asking for $45, $50 million a year, there's no way Guerrero's going to sign for 30. So you better sign him now. If it's going to cost you 35, sign him, get it done with, and let's take care of step two, and then the offseason step three. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Keep in mind that Juan Soto's not much older than Vladdy Jr. They may be the same age. Juan Soto's on a different level than Vladdy Jr. Regardless of what Vladdy does this year, Juan Soto's track record suggests that he is a better hitter, and Juan Soto will be, without question, will get the biggest contract of the offseason. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I love what Vladdy's doing, but let's be clear. As of now, it's basically he's a good player who's showing signs now of becoming an elite player, but. Yeah, he's still not on the level that Juan Soto's on, Kevin. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Yeah, I think Soto's got an advantage because he's left-handed. I've been saying that, right? That's why you even hear Ross coming out and saying the balance of the lineup. You need lefties facing them righties. You face more right-handed pitching, you do left-handed pitching. You need to be having guys who can lay off the slider or force a pitcher to throw a breaking ball instead of a slider, right? Throw to the other part of the strike zone. Look at Bassitt when he has to face lefties. Look at Barrios when he has to face lefties, right? You got to work quadrants. You got to work both sides of the plate. When you got a bunch of righties in a row, you get in a groove. Makes it easier to pitch to them.
Let's wrap it up with Doug and Barry. You're on Blue Jays Talk.
Yes, good evening. It's really nice to speak to you. As the old saying goes, I am a long-time listener, first-time caller.
Welcome and thank you. Thank you and welcome.
I don't really want to speak about the trade deadline myself or the state of the team at the moment. The fact of the matter is I've been wanting to call for weeks and I never got around to it. My question to you is, at the beginning of last year, Don Mattingly was touted as a kind of a savior. This guy is one of the all-time best. He's a great hitter. He's going to teach the young guys a lot, et cetera, et cetera. And he used to get more airtime than just about anybody on the bench. And in the last little while, we haven't seen him. I haven't heard about him. I haven't laid eyes on him. There's no mention of him on the broadcast. I know his role has changed somewhat, but
no, it hasn't.
Where the heck did he disappear to?
Still the same. He's the offensive coordinator of an uncoordinated offensive team. I mean, that's really the only way. That's the only thing I can say. And you know what? If I'm Don Mattingly, I'm spending 2024, the rest of it in witness protection. I mean, unless this team starts hitting, I don't want to be front and center. One of the great mysteries about this team is who does what. James Click is supposedly a GM in waiting. He's the vice president of baseball strategy. What the hell does that mean? What does he do? What's the delineation between Hunter Mintz and Matt Haig and Guillermo Hernandez and Don Mattingly? I don't know who does what. Throw Eddie in there. Now, it certainly seems to me I don't know if I'm telling tales here. It certainly seems to me that Vladdy's resurgence has happened with Eddie hanging around. So I don't know. Make what you want out of that. Don Mattingly, heck, I thought he was here because he was just biding time until the Yankees job came open, to be honest. And then they gave him the offensive coordinator's title. And, Kevin, what does that mean? Is he the guy you go to first? Is he like your favorite parent? You got a choice between your mother and your dad, and you're going to pick, boy, I'm in deep, deep doo-doo here. I'm going to go talk to mom because she's a lot nicer than dad. Dad's going to kick my ass. So I don't know. Is Don Mattingly the guy that kicks your ass, and Guillermo Martinez is the guy that gives you a hug, or vice versa? I don't know.
I think you got 5 doors to choose from. You got to make sure you're at all the doors equally.
Jeez.
Okay? I think that's what it is.
What if some of the doors don't open? Or what if you open them and there's nothing there?
Well, you're one of the worst hitting teams in baseball.
Yeah. Anyhow. Hey, listen, but it is a valid question. People have asked that. And, listening to Ross Atkins, I get the sense today that I get the sense the Jays, I get the sense this front office is taking a look at a lot of things. And one of the things that Ross Atkins did talk about was their arm injuries in the minor leagues, and that they are digging into it. And I've got to think. Listen, I've got to think the offensive issues are going to be front and center when they dig into it as well. Anyhow, thanks for all of you who listened to us, and for those of you who called. We'll be back tomorrow after the Jays game. It is a 12:35 first pitch. 6-2. The Jays lose to the Orioles tonight. Thank you for listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by the brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Gloverton and Clarenville, Newfoundland. Shout out to Newfoundland. Protect your vehicle from rust today. Find your local family-owned Crown at crown.com. They are Canada's #1 rust protection.
This has been Major League Baseball play-by-play on SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app.
Why do I love calling this game?
Calling this game?
Calling this game?
Calling this game?
Why do I love calling this game? It's because I get a chance to bring some joy into people's lives.
Anything can happen on a baseball field.
We've got a new game! It's perfectly unscripted theater.
Everybody on their feet! Because you never know what you're going to see on a given day.
It is bedlam in the bank as Bryce Harper has put the Phillies on top!
There's just something about baseball on the radio.
Something about the way wood hits leather.
A swing and a drive to
The way leather hits dirt.
And he made the play! Oh, my!
The way a deep fly ball sounds like it's about to change history.
High fly ball to center field. It's hit pretty well toward the wall.
Until the cleats hit the grass, hit the crushed brick, and then nothing but sky and a silent crowd.
That ball's high.
Until leather hits leather and 40,000 fans lose their collective minds.
In a perfect symphony of chaos.
He jumped up on top of the wall, balanced himself, and caught it.